All right, so looks like we're gonna do part two of Dudearino's 30K run, and just get it started, I guess.
Okay. All right. We're obviously going to raise here. What sizing do you guys like with one, two, three, four limpers?
You got 100 bigs, and you have as low as like 10. I would just let's see here. So three, four, five. Six. I mean, it's 6. Do we just go ahead and go for 10? I mean, do we just go ahead and like, because we're gonna raise at 6, right? Do we actually induce a jam? Because they have like no fold equity. They're 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 gonna call 10 is just as easy as they'll call 6, maybe even 11.
I'm literally just clicking pot.
Yeah, I usually try to raise at or around what's already in the pot, give or take a little bit. That's what I use as a guide for the most part. If I don't do the whole, raise plus the
Sure.
blind for each player.
I do a pot plus a click or up or down, either
Yeah.
way.
It pretty much forces these shorties to, all in or fold, and I'll play for stacks against this guy, I guess. All right, so it's a little bit over. Yeah, let's get it in.
Oh, wow.
That
Nice.
works.
Yeah, just getting it in there, right? I mean, there's no reason to play post flop. You're just getting their stacks in.
Yeah. What's this? 6, 7 bigs. Just jam, I think. Standard.
Yeah, that's what I bet. I started doing that like last week. Was like if they're like 6 or 7 bigs, and I got any like paint connector at all, like
Yeah,
it's
a
getting
good
in there.
it's a good spot, especially if you have a huge stack. Just to do the Nash, the profitable shoves over the long run. It's gonna print you money, I think. I think it's a little loose of an open. Maybe from cutoff or hijack, I might pop it. But you guys all right with passing on that, or any of you guys
Yeah,
open it?
I'm folding
Yeah,
that. Yes. I don't even
I'm
look at that
happy either
far.
way, but I'll generally fold.
Like
Seven.
under these circumstances, I've been making this call like all day.
I think
Unless I look at their stats and they're like 12-6.
right.
Like I'm making this call almost all day long. Because like if I lose it, I'm not really too worried about losing like about seven bigs with my massive stack right now. Like I'm not worried about it.
On a lot of wrecks have the leak that they'll shove extremely wide when they're under the gun before they're coming into the blinds.
Yeah, this is a 30K though. This is a what? This is a 15?
16, 50, 20K. Wednesday high stakes. Yeah.
Well, there certainly are wrecks that
Stakes.
play at the level, though.
I don't know. I don't like. I think it's super light to call off, even if it's just 7 bigs. I think I want to keep those 7 bigs and just keep them short.
I probably
keep
end up finding the fold because
and
this player
keep jamming on his big blind. Just drain him.
You have ICM answer?
Yep.
Easy way to find the answer. It's a fold, but easy way to find the answer.
Yeah.
See, my logic to folding here is I'm
Yeah. Well, I
flipping
guess.
so much. Like you
I mean,
never
it's
have
just straight an ICM as your answer. If ICM
Yeah.
says a profitable call, it's a profitable call.
I mean, we can run it real quick if you guys want to get a general idea of how low your range should be there when you do want to call.
Yeah, because I've been calling
Change
super
it to
wide.
oh, you're okay, percent EV.
I've
Oh
been
no,
calling
you
super
want chip
wide, so yeah.
BB, yeah,
So.
and then just calculate for Nash for now. Unless you want to change
Okay.
that range, you can change the range.
It's taking longer than usual.
Do.
I mean, that's a wide range, I think.
Tight it up. So it's break even here. So if you go tighter, it's probably going to be
I guess it is a call.
It's close.
It doesn't look horrible.
From under the gun though, I don't know. That does seem kind of
off,
low.
hijack, low-jack MP, yeah.
Put
he's
the range up there, dude. So what would you cut out, Johnny?
Cut out the suited connectors. Cut out the 8.7, probably the 9.8,
7 bigs.
Huh?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, like the 9.8, 10.8, Jack 8. I'd get rid of those. And then I would actually probably add back the Ace 3, Ace Deuce.
Those weren't in there by Nash.
Hmm.
That's fine. People shove aces.
Yeah. And then get rid of like the
Jack 8, 10, 8, 9, 8.
10-8 suited, Jack 8 suited. Yeah. That's what I kind of see him at.
Okay. I don't think that's going to change it at all.
Nah.
Yeah. It's pretty much.
It's kind of surprising that that's
a profitable call.
I mean, yeah, slightly profitable, but I guess we can afford to take it, so might as well.
Yeah, I think 0.3 and above you're supposed to call, right? Anything under that's pretty marginal.
Yeah, that is. I wonder if it's a call just because of our stack size.
It's a call because you are on the button and you close. I'm sorry, in the big button, you close the action. I guarantee if you move yourself to the button, it's not a call. Or even the small blind, I bet you it's still not a call. But ICMizer loves when you close the action.
Yeah, it's still a call with 25. Yeah,
it's the same, okay. Right?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
their range is the same. That's what matters.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
But if you move your seat to you move your seat and calculate here, I guarantee you.
Yeah, it'd be a fold here.
It's a fold here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a massive fold. See that? It's all about position with ICMizer.
Wow.
That's interesting.
That is really interesting.
That's surprising that that's a call. I guess just anybody calling there? No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I'm letting it go.
What about suited? Queen 8 suited there.
Where are we at? What? 91. I probably still fold Queen 8 suited there.
Yeah,
because like I said, we're not closing the action. Like I don't get 3-bet off of it against the other big stack.
I'm not really worried about that as much as I want to be in position.
Yeah. I think it's marginal. Hand out of position, deep stack. Probably best to avoid. Just fold.
I've been folding this lately. Like this, like in under the gun +1, like pretty much all the way up to 7s, regardless of how big my stack is, unless someone jammed on me, or like unless like everyone's super low stacked and I got a massive stack. It's the only time, and then I'm just jamming and playing for stacks. But like I'm folding this like crazy.
6s are the lowest they usually go.
Generally. I go to 7s, but sometimes I go to 6s because he yells at me if I don't.
Yeah, 6s sometimes, depending on table dynamics and players.
Oh yeah, he'll go super wide depending on the table. If he thinks he's the best guy at the table, he'll open.
Oh, go back.
Sorts of shit.
Go back. Is there? Oh, never mind. If a wild lizard folded, is there merit to actually 3-betting this?
I would go suited if anything.
It like suited for sure. Like don't ever do it with offsuit.
God, I mean this hand's just such hot garbage. You don't block shit. You don't have any draw outs besides what 2 pairs and straights maybe.
You got two rejam stacks here that could easily get in with you.
That's even a better reason to fold too because of the blind sizes.
Oh yeah.
How often are you guys 3-betting suited connectors? Because I rarely, if ever, 3-bet suited connectors.
They gotta be super like 3-bet fold heavy, but I've been calling them a lot lately too.
I'm okay with throwing them in there. I mean, I kind of flat with them more often than not because I 3-bet a lot in general. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I kind of balance that way, but I don't hate 3-betting them because at least that way you have the initiative in the pot. And, you have more options, more ways to win, right?
I'm 3-betting a lot of my offsuit paint.
Offsuit paint all day. I love it.
Yeah.
Weak aces, I love it. Weak suited aces, I love that too.
I like having
Yeah,
the ace.
by the-
I like having the ace or the king blocker.
Me too.
But yeah, mixing in 8 9, 7 8, 7 5 things.
The good thing about that is it gives you board coverage.
Right. Yeah, especially I think I would most likely I would more often than not want to have position when I make
For
that
sure.
count.
Yeah. And you guys understand board coverage? All of you guys?
Uh,
So the idea is when you three bet, you want to have board coverage so that when it comes down in those middling cards, people know that you three bet with hands that might hit that flop.
yeah.
If you're the kind of player that only three bets aces, kings, and queens, when it comes down 7, 8, 10, you never hit that flop, right? Or
And
so
I'm,
it's hard to
I'm
rep.
glad you brought that up because I actually contribute having board coverage to my 10K cash yesterday. Because I think, like, for the session, my three bet was was like 18%. Like,
You have to
almost, it was
clarify.
close to 20.
Your cash in the 10K, right? Not your 10K cash.
Or my cash in the 10K.
Okay. Because I was about to celebrate, like, super.
Hell yeah.
I was about to go crazy.
Yeah. But no, I contribute like having board coverage on my three bet range to that because like I was pretty much flatting all like suited paint and three betting all of my offsuits. And people just got to a point where they would either one tilt off to me or they just wouldn't give me action anymore. And it was plainly obvious the guys who were going to tilt off to me, and it was plainly obvious the guys who were not going to give me action. And I just exploited the shit out of it for like
Especially
hours.
when you're a reg and start to get a little bit recognized, like me, everyone knows I'm the fucking three bet guy. So people do crazy shit to me, and it works out. But they also know that again, they know I have board coverage as well. So if I'm c betting a board that's 6, 5, 8, there's a chance I have a piece of that. Yeah, works that way. Especially for you, Johnny, because you're a streamer, and as you start to get a following and people are watching, they're gonna pay attention to stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Streaming definitely makes it harder.
Either raise or fold. Like, are we willing? Are we willing to call off 11 bigs? Because like, if we bet if we bet 2.5, I don't know. We might be able to get away with 2.5, but why?
Yeah, I
Does
don't
it
mind.
matter? Does it matter what kind of player the guy is?
Yeah, I think so. If he's got nitty stats, I would be more likely to raise his blind. His fold to steal stat is going to be important to me
Okay.
because he's folding 100% of steals, 3 of 3. But
And he's
solid
99 hands.
solid stats otherwise. 3 betting super light. So yeah, I mean, if he had a bigger stack, this is definitely one of the hands I would 2.73,
All day.
3.5x, depending on if it's deeper. 3-6, 9-4, 7-3, just the jack deuce, the shit of the shit. 70% of the time I'll pop it. I won't do it every time because they'll pick up on it and start flattening or 3-betting me. But yeah, I don't think it's bad just letting it go there. He's likely to get it in, I think. What do you guys like doing here with two shorties? Ace-6
I'm
off.
popping it. I'm popping to get away from a jam. I'll just take it up to like I'll just min raise it and then just get it away. And just get away.
I think Ace-6 off might be a jam for less than 20 bigs.
I'm jamming. I
Yeah, I might
might
just
see what everyone else is saying.
Yeah, I might just take away their
Because
their
I
fold
specifically
equity.
don't want to raise fold to a worse hand,
Yeah.
which you're going to do a lot on these stack sizes when you're raising from the button.
Yeah. I think less than 20 bigs. Ace-9 or Ace-10 off and down, I'll probably just jam. Ace-10 suited, I might raise to induce.
Can we go back to the 3-6 for a second?
Yeah.
So in this spot, I feel like I'm okay limping because in order for our villain to play appropriately, they need to put their whole stack at risk. You know what I'm saying?
In this case, the problem is when you limp here, if this guy's any sort of competent, he's going to assume you're not limping strong, right? And he can just jam on you with any two cards.
Right.
I don't know if this guy's competent or not. But if you
Now-
limp on me and I have this stack, and I'm going to jam on you with all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
You know?
If I had jacks or queens or aces, I would 100% limp
Love
and
it.
try to get him to jam. I've been doing that a lot more lately, and it works more often than you would think.
Now, what if you had like 25? What if you had 25? I could see a limp. I could see a limp lead with like
I
25.
think the cutoff for me would probably be 20 bigs. I would limp and then call off a jam. I think 25 is probably a little bit above the cutoff. I think
I think
where
he's
they're going
talking
to be
about with
jamming over
this
top of.
hand against a villain who had 25 bigs, he would limp lead. Right?
Oh,
Do I have
okay.
that right?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's what I was getting at. Because he's less likely. He's less likely to jam on me just with any two with
I agree.
like 20, 25.
Yeah, I agree. In that scenario, I'm usually going the dude route and raising 2.5x with my junkiest of junk, which I kind of put this in there, and then my strongest of strong because I want value, and then everything in the middle I limp lead. This stuff is so weak that uh, we don't really want to see a flop. You'll be surprised how often you take it down, and also you'll be surprised how often they flat you and you see bet and just take it down then.
Mhm.
Uh, so that's kind of how I approach these, and I am definitely in the category of a guy who used to limp lead way too much. And while I do agree it is one of the most effective moves in poker, hands down, when you limp lead, you probably take it down 70 some odd percent of the time, but it's not necessarily the best way to win chips. You might be able to have a more valuable line by raising it. So,
Are
so that
Are there any? It's interesting you put it that way. That it's one of the most powerful moves in poker. Are there any other moves that you would just off the top of your head that you would throw in that category? Like, I always want to get a heads up in position and see bet.
sure.
You know, uh,
For a mere $50 a month, all you guys can join God's Big Toe Poker and get my secret.
there you go.
No, seriously.
Love it.
Limp lead is definitely one of the most effective moves in poker, hands down.
Hmm.
Um, can I think of any other those? I can't think of any that jump out in my head that don't take a little bit of finesse, like the alley oop. When to
Right.
alley oop, when to oop ollie, when to alley oop turn and river. That takes a little bit of art. If you guys hang out with me, and you kind of understand what any of that means, but um, I can't think of anything that I could think of that is as effective as the damn limp lead.
Probably the easiest one, but I mean, it it takes finesse to be able to pull it off without a made hand. But just like check call, check call flop, and then check raise turn. It takes a little finesse to do it, unless you have like a made hand. But
Well, there's one that you kind of reminded me of is basically, I mean, something that I use a lot that is just basic poker, which comes down to if they're checking, I'm betting. And I do
Right.
that. My hands, if you see bet the flop and check the turn, you want to get value from me. I say this a lot. If you want to get value from me, see bet the flop with value and check the turn. Because I am betting if I'm in position, I'm betting every single turn. My cards don't matter. And if I'm out of position, I'm betting every single river. My cards don't matter.
Do you
So that's another one. If they're
do
betting
you,
on, if they're checking, I'm betting.
do you target Rex, Regs, or just anybody with that? Like, do you want to do it with Rex
I would
more,
be
with Regs
less
more?
likely to do it to you because I think you have a
Less likely.
balanced check back range
Right. Right.
versus the average guy out
That
there who just
that
bets when they
makes
have
sense.
it and checks when they don't. And most people have the nuts to see bet, but very few people have the balls to double barrel appropriately.
Right. 100%. Yeah. Another one thing I've been testing out lately is bigger bet sizes on the flop. I know I know you want to bet bigger when it's wet, but even and I maybe even taking it a little bit overboard and getting more folds and losing out on value than I should. But I think I'm going to make some adjustments and tweak it a little bit more.
Mhm.
But I think it's working out for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, that one takes a little art too. Like I basically have two bet sizes for the most part. I have a little more than a third, and then I have somewhere in the two-third, little less, little more
Yeah. Yeah. I have
range,
mine.
and I wield those in different spots, different
Yeah.
scenarios, like crazy.
The one.
Sometimes I go big, small. Sometimes I go small, small, big. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Those are
Mhm.
generally my bet sizes
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, the ones I have programmed or that I use the most are 34 and 67, but I also
Yeah,
have
exactly. Those are what I thought.
28, 43, and
Sh-
75. Uh,
Sure, because if it comes down like 4-4 deuce, you can sneeze on that pot. You don't have to bet.
right, right. I'll throw a 28 out there, even,
Yeah,
yeah, probably not less. But yeah, I think 28 is pretty good.
agreed.
Also jamming. Oh, I just went with the raise. I don't like that. Oh. What sizing you guys like on that one?
I go like super small and call jam. So I go like maybe 2,500. Well, I guess that's still like half pot. I'd set him up. I'd set him up if he makes the call on the turn or makes the call on the flop. You can just make him play one SPR on the turn or check call.
I may not. Oh, sorry.
I would just much rather just set him up.
Mm-hmm. What were you gonna say? Uh,
No, Johnny made me think of looking at it from a different angle because my thought was to jam here and get him off the pot so I don't have to worry about hitting my flush.
I think the problem with that is when you jam, you're just getting called by better. Everything worse folds, which is usually the case in a lot of different scenarios. I think my approach to this, I like going a little bit bigger. I want to maximize my fold equity, and if he does jam, we can reevaluate that if he takes that route.
Yeah, I think one thing is never bet because you fear the reaper. That
Yeah.
that's a that's a common mistake. Not a big mistake, but common mistake. Here, I would normally check, to be honest. If this guy had any sort of chips, I would check because I don't want to get 40 blinds in here.
Yeah.
But considering that this guy's got zero fold equity against my hand, I don't mind betting. So the question is size. If we put 4 out there, there's another 8, which puts 13 out there. So somewhere around 4.
Yeah, I like checking back with a big stack too. I mean, we've got a hell of a draw, but I don't want to lose half my stack on
Yeah, I mean, against
diamond
this
hunting.
blind size, though, against this stack size, we're never folding, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
we're just
For
getting
sure.
there. So
Any folds, we'll take it.
you went right about 4, right? Was that 3,500?
Yeah, 30, 34,
Seems about right. Yeah.
34.
Hey, I'd like to kind of touch on what Turl just said. He said he wanted to jam it because he didn't want to have to worry about making his flush.
Mhm.
Well, if we jam it, like Dude said, he was like, well, we're only going to get better to call you. But that's not necessarily true because we're still drawing to the nut flush draw. As it sits right now, we're only going to get better to call us, but we're still drawing pretty decent because we got bottom pair too.
Yeah, I still think this hand kind of proves the point. Like, we didn't have to jam, right? We put 3,000 out there, risk less, and got the same thing done.
Yeah. And we get the same thing done. And even if he does call, we still like hold relative decent equity on top of fold equity. So like even if he has a jack and he calls with a jack, like we're still.
I mean, I kind of have to look, but I mean, even if he has ace jack, I wonder how bad we are. Let me look real quick. Card play.
You kind of following me there, Twirl?
Yeah, definitely.
We're
Like,
mathematically
we
ahead.
really
You mentioned
can't
that
fear.
this up a lot.
We can't really fear losing, right? And and if it comes down to it, and we just can't get over that fear, then just check it back. Wait until you're more confident. Like, I mean, don't be like super like fishy. Just check. But like, don't like if you don't feel comfortable in the spot, don't take it. You know what I mean? It's much better just to check and like evaluate turns than to get your chips in there with marginal equity.
So ace jack is probably one of the worst hands I can think of that we'd get it in here against. And against ace jack, we are 60-40.
Yeah, even against just a jack, we're still ahead.
Yeah. Well, if it's not ace jack and it's king jack, then we're actually ahead
Right.
because we have the ace out. So ace jack is one of the worst. If it's sets, then we're fucked. Right?
Yeah.
If it's got sixes, we're pretty screwed. If it's got sixes, 70-30. Probably the same for threes, I imagine.
Yeah.
70-30.
You guys like opening here? 198 bigs.
I'd probably I'd go straight off my chart on that one. I think because I've been at the point where I'm just like preserve stacks, like don't get into pots unless like you have the mathematical advantage. So I've been playing pretty much like standard just chart ranges in these spots because this is what happened to me in the what's going on right now pretty much is what happened to me between like hours 1 and 3 of the 10K yesterday, and I just pretty much just played. I just played the standard charts and 3-bet when I had position with offsuit paint is basically what I did.
I mean, I think that's fine. I think if you aren't as comfortable post flop, or it's early in a tournament and you don't think you're gonna get much like outplay your opponents and be able to exploit them, and you want to play ranges, that's generally a good idea because you're gonna end up on the flop with a stronger range, which is always good. If you want to run over this table, I don't see any problem opening this. The first thing I would look at is the 3-bet stats for the blinds because they have chips.
Yeah.
In a vacuum, I think it's a fold.
Yeah, if it's an open, it's definitely at the bottom of the open fold for sure.
I even think it's below the bottom. It's kind of the stretch.
Yeah. It's definitely the stretch. I mean, it's right there.
I think ace 10 is where you're supposed to be here, right?
Probably, yeah. Let's check. Charts. Yeah, and they're definitely 3-betting with button cutoff, hijack, ace 9 off, open fold.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's right under.
So it's right outside the range. It's not that bad. Not a problem.
But
the good thing is we can fold to those stacks, right?
Yeah, for sure. And what you said about just playing ABC and your ranges, that's good. Like Toe said, you're always going to end up on the flop strong. But I find myself sometimes getting into that mode and tightening up too much, especially when I have a huge stack like this where I have a great opportunity to chip up slowly over a long period of time and get a good stack to go deep.
Yeah, it's interesting. Me and Sixes, I study with him a lot, and we get into some interesting debates because he, on Bovada and on the lower stakes in ACR, he can get away with opening just massive from every position because he's so much better than the field. But we were talking recently, too, on ACR, especially where it's tough and the fields are tougher, you're better off sticking with ranges and then smoking fools post-flop. That's basically my bread and butter, which is why I have more success on ACR than he does, on that site specifically. Yeah.
Yeah, my ROI on Iggy is about twice what it is on ACR, and I'm trying to adjust and it's just hard to put more volume into Iggy. There's just not much there.
And ACR is the hardest site to win on by far. The better players are not winning as much on ACR. It's just the way it is. The late reg makes it tough. The average player is better. So there's a lot of players like me, players like you, players like Sixers. A lot of those guys who are pretty good that dilute the field. And so we're all getting our min cashes all the time.
Yeah.
There's not enough really good people and not enough really bad people.
Yeah. And another thing that I've noticed that you might want to try to pay attention to, and it doesn't happen all the time, but it will happen sometimes, is when you show down a monster, you take somebody out and take their 50 bigs, you get a big stack going, people are going to be less likely to want to fuck with you and get in a pot with you. So that's something that you can take advantage of and chip up slowly.
It's kind of like when you open twice with some random stuff and then you get aces and on the third one you're getting called. You always get called on your third open.
100%.
Same thing in reverse, right?
Yeah, so that can help you add to your stack, in certain spots.
And I like how you brought up the whole ROI thing. I actually just updated all of my tournaments on my poker tracker to see where my ROI is over the course of the year so far. I'm literally got like an in the money percentage of about, I think maybe 20, it's like 18 to 20% on ACR. And then on Carbon, I'm like at 45.
It should be that way.
Your poker tracker tracks your WPN caches?
You got to go back and relog like all of your.
Oh yeah, so you have to manually enter those.
Yeah. I do it because I like to see where I'm at. I try to update it every quarter.
Yeah, well, I've got a phone app that I do for that, so it works. That's what I do. I use a little phone app. It's called Poker Bankroll Tracker, and it's fucking amazing.
I use that for my live roll.
You just should.
Because it's easy. Because as soon as I'm done live, I can just jump on my phone and do it real quick.
Yeah, it's great, man. Standard open, I think.
Oh yeah.
And here lately, like I know I used to every now and then I experiment with bet sizes and add a little bit here, add a little bit there. But here lately, I've just been min raising across the board, and
Me too.
it seems to work just as good. And I'm saving money, I think.
Yeah, me too. That's funny because I was going 2.5 when I was 40 blinds or more, and min raising underneath
Yeah,
that. And there
yeah,
was a time when I was doing 3x, thinking I'm getting more folds, but I always
yeah.
fell back on the min raise.
I think at the very, very least, I do above 100, I'll do like 2.2,
hmm
and then below 100, I'll just min raise
hmm
or throw 10 chips on there, which doesn't really affect much. I don't think.
No.
So we get
I've
three bet
actually
by
been,
the. Oh, you're
I,
good.
in on blind versus blind spots. I've been just when we have like even stacks in the blinds, and I got pretty much like a standard raise from the small blind, like where it's not. I mean, where it's not a limp lead spot, and we got pretty much even stacks, say 20 to like 30, between 20 and 30. I've been doing the whole like min with like an extra like 40 or like an extra 50.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. The blinds are the one place I vary. So if I'm in the small blind betting into the big blind, it's always 2.5. If I'm in the
Yeah,
big blind betting into the small blind, it's always 3.5.
yeah. I don't know. I never min raise the blinds,
Never.
especially short stack. I don't think you want to build a pot and play out of position, no matter what you have.
And you don't gain any
Really,
information either. You don't narrow
right,
ranges.
right. If somebody's gonna get to play in a pot with me in position, they're gonna fucking pay for it.
Mm.
Um, I'm gonna go. It depending on stack size. Below 40 bigs, 2.5, 2.7 is probably the lowest I'll go. Above that, getting into the 50 to 60 to 70, I'll 3x it. 100 and above, I'll usually 3.5, maybe 4x it, depending on dynamics and player.
hmm
That's usually what I stick to, I think. So uh, we get three bet by the button. 100 bigs deep. You guys like just flatten here? Anybody four betting?
Oh, sticky.
I think
Do you got a fold before bet on there? No.
yeah. Fold to four bet after three bet 0 of 1. So
Uh,
and I use this
no.
sometimes, but it's 99% of
Uh,
the time. I don't think it's going to be useful just because there's not enough sample size on it. And
People
this
never 4 bet light. They have three light 3 bets. No one's got a light 4 bet.
yeah. I think
I'm looking. Honestly, I'm looking for an excuse to kind of fold here because his 3 bet range is pretty tight. But on the other hand, too, I got pairs. I got a pair like it's so close that like he could be holding like an ace queen or an ace king.
yeah, he could have anything. Nine. I think nine's a little loose, not super loose, but just a tad. I think it's maybe between 6 and 8 is pretty snug or standard. I think maybe. Um, I'm always calling this.
I'm
Uh,
flattening this all day. 100%.
yeah, I think four betting's unnecessary. 100% unnecessary. Um, I think, and like you said, nobody ever four bets light. I think the only hands I'm ever four betting here are kings and queens, or
Yeah.
not kings and queens. I'm sorry, kings and aces.
And so you're not even 4 betting light. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And I
I
usually
just feel
don't.
like
I
I
rarely.
wouldn't do it in the much in
at
this
all.
position, but if I was in like maybe sometimes here, but more often in the cutoff or the hijack, if I raise in the button 3 bets,
Mhm.
then I'll 4 bet like an ace 5 off or
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
some sort of king
And
queen or something.
that's a good observation to take into account. We've got a stronger range over here than we do uh,
hmm
over here.
I just feel like we check fold the flop here, like especially against these stack sizes, against the 2 stack sizes here. Like I just feel like we almost just check fold too much.
Well, I would argue with 1 over, you should always see a turn.
Yeah,
If it's wetter than that, then you might have to check fold.
And another thing to take a look at is his. So yeah, he's going to see bet the flop 100% of the time, but his turn, he's most people are just going to
fair
give
enough.
up
Is it 0?
if they
Oh,
don't hit.
Yeah,
fuck,
it's
Yeah,
0,
there's
please.
no
but it's
sample
0
Let's
size.
get to the
0.
turn. Check
Yeah.
that
It's
turn.
0 of 0. So he hasn't really had an option to. So he's been pushing people
Yeah.
off to see that.
Yeah, so always calling this c bet.
And that's just standard small sizing.
Yeah.
You guys calling?
Yeah, I don't feel
Flatting,
terrible about this
raising?
spot.
Yeah.
We got
With
backdoor. We
just
got backdoor runners too.
yeah.
We got
Just
blockers, so
just
I don't feel
just went
terrible.
over.
But how many hands that he three bets have a jack in it? Ace jack,
Right.
pair of
Yeah,
jacks.
exactly. I wouldn't be worried about the jack. Like, I feel pretty good here.
Yeah. Ace jack, king jack, queen jack
I
suited
mean,
maybe.
he still has overs though. Like, he still has over pairs, right?
He
I mean,
does.
they're still there. Let's be honest.
He does.
So you
But now
guys
we just got to see if he checks the turn. If he checks the turn, you know he never has it.
Right.
always checking here, I think.
Yeah. And now it's free
check.
ring.
Oh yeah.
You
Now
just
it's
want to
free
say.
roll the river.
We didn't even need the 10. That 10 could have been a
It's
4.
like, how do I get the value here?
The problem is getting value here because when he checks
Right.
the turn, he never has a jack.
Right. So
Does he three bet with queen nine? I don't think so.
No,
I think we're good. We're amazingly good.
not
Right?
this guy.
queen nine suited maybe, but not nearly enough to worry about it. I think.
And he doesn't have jacks because of the heart on the turn. He would have bet, right?
And I think if he had queen nine, he would be more likely to double barrel instead of bet check back maybe. But I wouldn't even worry about queen nine.
I would
What's sizing you guys like here? Try to extract a little value.
I've been on team toe lately. Just go for value, and if they fold, they fold. Because like, just get the value now. You know, I mean, there's
We have
no
to ask
reason
ourselves what's
to
calling.
go small.
Right.
We
And
know
I
he
try-
doesn't have a jack,
Yeah.
which means he's got ace high, pocket nines, an 8, pocket 7s, and to get a call by that, we should go small.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of see it as, oh yeah, over pairs do. So I
In a
guess we do
scenario
kind of
where he had bet the turn and we somehow got to the river, then we can bet big because now we know he's got a lot of jacks and
Yeah.
over
I like
pairs.
that. Yeah.
Aces, kings, queens never check the turn.
Right. Generally, I'll go along with your thought line, Johnny. With if he's going to call, I'm going to get max value with it. But I think it's good to analyze what he can have, what he can call with. And I think this is a perfect situation where we're supposed to bet small to try to get an ace high or seven.
Yeah, another example, Johnny, too. If it came down like Jack 10-5 and he C bet and then we want to go bet, raise, bet, by all means, that's a good spot to just keep your foot on the gas because he's got so many other draws and Jack X and things like that. Here, like I said, when he checks the turn, he has nothing. So we have to price it appropriately.
Okay.
It might be a little
I
high.
might have gone like 95, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
99,
Something
99.
under 10, yeah. Just
Yeah.
anything under 10. Yeah.
So we take down another
Weird
good
used
one.
car
So-
sales.
When you guys were saying small, I was thinking $7,000. Is that way too
Yeah.
small?
No, I
Um,
like that size. Maybe
Yeah,
7 or
seven's
8.
not bad. I think
Yeah.
you can get a little more. I think maybe 8,500 is probably a hair better, but 7 grand's close.
And that helps to maybe, and I know everybody's going to be different, but maybe put yourself in his shoes. You three bet with ace king. What amount are you going to call there on ace king? Oh man, he's just bullshitting me. I'm going to call him with ace high.
Right.
He's just betting because I checked the turn. Maybe he'll call 65 or 75.
Right.
Yeah, good rule of thumb. Basically, a small bet is around a third pot, right? So 8,500. If it was like 558 and we want to go even smaller than that, totally cool with that on a board that's always going to work. You could bet, 28%, I think is what Dude was saying. I think it sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Thanks.
Tens again. Under the gun, standard open. Get 3-bet by a nit with 12 bigs.
God, why didn't he jam it? God, I wish he would have jammed it. When he does this, it's like always fucking aces. Like
Not a nit.
always.
See the 20.
Yeah.
I'm
He's got
probably
0.
folding.
I don't know. I don't know if I could ever get away. I mean, I guess I could, and maybe I need to learn to get away from spots like this. But with 12 bigs and 10s and 100
Yeah,
stack,
the 5,400 is always. He doesn't do that with ace king. He jams ace king because he doesn't want to play a flop.
yeah, I would say this is probably queens plus at the lowest.
I'm a sucker here too. Like, I don't think I can fold here. There's just too many chips in the pot, and it's capped way too low for me to.
He's
My stack.
always got queens plus here.
So we have to
I
call.
mean, I don't know.
Let's see if I'm wrong.
I don't know. I think he
Get what I'm
probably
saying.
has some like ace king. He
He's a
probably has like
14-7.
he's got
Eight-
nines. I think he's
9
getting in there with
jams.
nines.
They don't want to see a flop.
So we have to call
That's true.
11-4 to win 35. So we have to call around 11 to win 44.
I don't know if you're getting odds if you're straight set mining.
11.
Because
Yeah.
in my mind, in this spot, you're straight set mining. I don't think you're getting odds.
So to call 11 to win 44, we have to win 25% of the time. So with against queens, we have what 18%. So
Yeah.
it's not super far off, but
Wait,
you know,
18 to 25 is huge.
7. Yeah, yeah,
Huge.
yeah.
In a vacuum,
it's-
this is if this guy jams and the other guy jams, I might call that here. I'd be way better about calling if they both
Calling a
jam.
jam, then
With that
like,
5400, I'm like, fuck that.
yeah, I agree.
Oh no. Oh.
There we go.
Oh.
How bad was it?
What do you think?
Wow.
Does he have a set of aces, kings, or queens?
Set of queens.
I do put whiskey on ace king though.
Oh, there's some
Nine.
nines.
He didn't see the
Oh,
writing.
yeah, there they are.
Aces.
It's
Got
like
'em.
we know, man. I said it was always aces.
Yeah. All right, so let's see.
It's a tell though, right? If he jams it, I'm calling. I'm absolutely calling if he jams it.
Right. So we've got 17 when it went in. Oops, yeah, should have been a fold when we got there.
That's actually going to be a big note for me. I think this week.
When
It's
they
just
click
like
it back on a
fucking-
they should be
like-
jamming. It's mega strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, if it's they got 12 bigs and they're going to just three
When
bet.
they three bet not jam, it's always aces and kings.
Yeah.
always.
Like
So another thing along the same lines, I was watching an Alex Fitzgerald webinar recently, and it was about short stack play, and between 9 and 13 bigs. Say you've got a hand you don't want to jam with, and I guess it would depend. You want to be in late position and have some blinds, that have good fold to steal stats, 80%. Just min raising your 9 deuce or your 9-3 or your 9-7, just trash you would fold. Min raise that shit, and you're likely going to get folds because what's this dude raising off? What's this dude raising off 10 bigs with? Why is he not jamming on me? He's got to be super nutted. I'm going to fold, and it works.
A little tip for you: see, can't even read. At the very bottom of your screen.
Yeah.
He's very, very, very good.
Really? That's
He's a former coach of mine. Won the 50K and third in the millie in the same day.
So he got a crusher too.
wow, really?
Yeah, he had an 80K weekend as a U.S. player. He's very good.
Crusher.
That's good to know.
Former coach of mine.
All right. Thank you for that. 3-4 fold.
Wait, hold on, Toe. Did you know that before you were like, he's got aces? It's always aces or queens.
That was a different guy. He would
Keep
never
going.
do that. He would have jammed it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Because
think
he
the
would
only
know
play.
that I would know that that's always aces. Like,
Yeah,
he wouldn't
I
do
think that's
this.
the only play.
I see it now.
Can't flat, can't min raise. 8 standard open. Flat. Let's see if this guy jams or not. He does. So now we're in, not that horrible of a spot. I think. What do you guys like doing here?
Oh, well, he did show up. That's somebody. Yeah, that's somebody different. It's a vacuum for the most part.
Yeah, we don't have hands. 13 on this guy.
Mm.
I think for
What we flat and get away? Like,
Yeah, I think 13 bigs is a reasonable amount to be able to flat. And if this guy somehow gets a stick up his ass and wants to jam 50 bigs, I can fold without,
I can also see the argument where Grindmaster, we're playing Grindmaster in a vacuum pretty much. So, like, play it standard. Like, he's got, like, 7 plus with ace queen. Like, put him on a tight range. Like, I could see that, but I don't know. It would still be hard for me to justify folding here.
No, this
Yeah,
is
I
snap
think
call.
I think it's call all day.
Sevens gets murky. This is snap call.
You guys like checking, donk leading small to induce, betting big.
I would like the donk lead if it wasn't so wet. Because with it being wet, like I'm not liking being check raised off of it.
Whoa,
Like,
wait, you're getting check raised off of this?
Yeah, we can't get check
well,
raised.
Let's talk about that.
well, I'm not. I guess I'm not one to play for 54 bigs,
Not
right?
with this when you already have a set. You're literally losing to a pair of queens and nothing else.
And another thing to look at is he's got a pot size bet behind.
Oh
So
yeah.
He's got exactly pot.
I guess he does have exactly a pot size bet behind. I guess we could just like.
So he's got ace queen, king queen, queen 10, queen jack. He's got a lot of queens in his fighting range over here. And if I had those, I would probably want to bet to an aggressor who's checking to me.
Yeah, but I still don't see a justified donk bet here though. Because,
Right. Yeah. I like just checking. Check
This
this
guy
guy
had
raising.
any amount of chips like all we did. This is a C bet all day.
Mhm.
Given that he's got a pot size jam, check is going to jam all the time. If he doesn't jam here, he's going to jam the turn. We'll get him all in by the river, basically. That's what I'm saying.
So if he has 120 bigs like us,
Bet
and
for
there's
sure.
50K in the pot, what's
What size?
maybe?
now, what I will say,
I would probably bet large because I think that anything that's coming along for a small bet is coming for a large bet. The flush draws, the queens. You might even get called off one street by a jack, a pair of jacks rather, a pair of tens. So I would bet large,
So maybe like between
30.
28 and 32 ish.
Yeah, actually, right between it. I think I'd bet 30. Yeah.
And that would set us up for a pot size turn jam if
Yep.
that was the case. Yeah.
we opened this right, and then we had the jam over the top of the 13,
Right.
and we call. So technically, we're still the aggressor in the two-way.
Yeah, but it's a no side pot. So most of the time, people
Right.
check back when they miss with
Yeah.
no side pots, like that gentleman's agreement.
So
Where we all collude without talking about colluding. But
oh yeah, I mean, check it down. So it was all in. I get it.
yeah.
my ace,
That's old school. But
my ace king, my pocket tens, pocket nines, ace jack.
I might be.
I'm checking all those. Yeah.
I might be looking at this and trying to be too tricky about it, honestly. But let's assume that it came out like Queen of Diamonds, 3 of Clubs, 8 of Spades, right? So it's a rainbow flop, but we got the same on the board, and we still hit our set.
Mhm.
If we donk small, we almost induce them to raise us.
I'm okay with donking small in that case because they have less draws.
That's kind of what I was thinking. But with
Here they have
I
tons
don't
of combo
really-
gutter with a spade,
Just
overs
check.
with a spade. You know what I mean? They're gonna come along.
So we check.
Does he do it?
No,
Nope.
doesn't take the rope.
That's okay. We bet the turn.
Turn.
So now we know he doesn't have it. Now I would bet small. I think probably.
Yeah, and the flush draws, yeah, they're scary sometimes, but from all the studying I've done, you really don't want to put, too much emphasis on being afraid of the flush because they're rarely going to have it. When they do, it stings, it sucks. You're like, oh man, I should have bet more to get them out. But in reality, they're not going to have it that much, and you're probably better going for thin value.
And we could bet small and still give them a bad price, right? I guess if they hit the flush draw, they might just go with it, which is fine too.
But also, too, I mean, and it might be the stakes that I play at. Like, if they got a flush draw, they're coming along with a big bet anyway. So, like,
Yeah, for sure.
so.
But here the big bet is all in, right?
Yeah.
So they
Well,
might be able to
it will
fold
be.
9-10 of diamonds or something, or ace 5 of diamonds. And they might be able to fold it here if you jam.
Yeah, so I might go like 19, 18, between 18 and 20 to try to get him to come over the top.
Yep.
I think it's a little large.
I think it's a little large too.
Calls
Oh, you get a
anyway.
call.
Perfect
well.
size. It's a great size. I don't get it.
Not a good river, but I don't think I'm doing anything except getting it in here.
Yeah.
Ace king and pair six.
Fuck your 4-6.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, he called that monstrous bet on the
That's crazy.
turn too, and the river bet. Like Jesus. What tournament is this?
I'm surprised I didn't note this. 1650 20K Wednesday high stake.
Tell me poker is
Wow.
dead.
Tell me what you think of this, like as this kind of a standard rule, like how that came out, right?
Mhm.
And how the stack sizes were.
Mhm.
If and exactly how it played. So we like did we bet flop? We check flop. Check
Check
flop,
flop.
bet turn,
Mhm.
right? And then the flush completes on the river.
Mhm.
Like his stack is so small,
It
like
doesn't matter.
so like somebody that was worried about the flush, they're gonna check call it off, right? Like, why do that? You might as well. I mean, because if you're gonna check call, you might as well go ahead and get it in, right? Because you're gonna get it in anyway. You might as well have. You might as well hold on to the initiative.
If you
I
had
mean,
the
I,
flush
I
draw,
just feel like that's a general. That should be a general rule of thumb, even just as is. Because if you're gonna lose, you're gonna lose,
if
right?
you have the flush draw, you're talking about if you have the
Like
flush draw, you should just get it in.
the potential flush draw
Sure, because
completes
you have
on the
redraw
river.
outs. Sure.
You know, like the potential flush draw completes on the river, but the SPR is so awkward that you're going to call anyway.
Yeah.
You might as well get them in because you're going to lose anyway. Like you're either going to win or you're going to lose because you're going to call them off.
Or like if you had the spades, for example, and Dudearino checks the flop, just jam the flop because you have your spade draw as a security blanket, plus you have fold equity.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
That's
obviously in
the
this
side of
case,
that.
Dudearino is not folding with a set, but generally speaking, they're going to fold
Yeah.
more often than not.
And
Mhm.
in my experience, especially lately, because they haven't been they've been few and far between, but you need because we've got a huge stack now. You need pots like this to win or go deep in a tournament,
Oh,
and they're like I said, they're going to be far and few between. But I think the key is not stacking off or donking off light, just not going broke, and just be as patient as you can and wait for spots like this because they will eventually come.
because this motherfucker's going to give you all the chips with a 4-6 suited on a spot like
Yeah.
this where he had a blatant fold pre-flop, a blatant
Yeah.
fold on the
There-
turn, and a blatant fold on the river.
Yeah, that's why it's an important. And I missed that. I'm surprised I missed that note. It's super important to take notes because
Super.
next time I see this guy, I'm going to want to get in as many pots as I can with him because I know he's going to stack off super fucking light, and that's where I'm going to get my 50 bigs, you know, for the next tournament.
You labeled it ambiguous wreck. That's
Oh.
great.
Ambitious
Oh,
rack. Yeah.
ambitious. Okay. I'm gonna
Take this one. I'm gonna take this one from the car. I'll be right back.
I thought you called him ambiguous. That's
All right.
it was like super small.
So we're super stacked now. Sixes in the big blind. 17 big jam. Oh, that's easy. We could fold now.
Yeah. Fold.
I think-
We're not calling off 20. We're not calling off 40.
Yeah, I think it's super close for 17 bigs, but I think we're probably better off not just stacking off, you know, doubling him up, you know, flipping at best, dominated at worst. I think it's a spot we can just pass on without losing much equity or, you know, much of a spot to take, you know.
There's like so much like ace jack, ace queen in there though.
Yeah. There's, you know,
I mean,
Sevens.
because like anything
sevens,
that
eights, nines, tens. You know, there's a lot. I guess we'll find out.
eights, nines, and tens, yeah, but anything higher than tens is not jamming 17. I don't
There's
think.
ace sixes in there too.
Yeah. Well, obviously we're folding to the 40. Like that's obvious.
Yeah, for sure.
But like if the 40 was to fold, like I'm putting them on much more of a middling range, jamming with 17. Except at this stake at least. Like
Yeah,
at lower stakes, I'm probably respecting it a little bit more.
yeah. I think eights or nines might be the lowest I would call with, and probably ace queen suited, maybe ace queen off, maybe. Because other than that, you know, he could have ace six or he could have ace king. It's just a gamble, and I want to preserve this monster stack and just add to it and pick my, you know, there's better spots I think that we can pick up on.
I think 17's tough.
Yeah,
13's an insta call and 20's an insta fold, you know.
yeah. I would agree with that.
Something in the middle here.
Yeah.
And I'd probably get away from that myself.
Yeah, here's another similar spot with 14 and threes with another shorty behind. This might be a good one to.
I ISO the shit out of this
Yeah,
because like there's more that were the better side of the flip than not. Like yeah, I'm definitely ISOing the shit out of that for sure. without hesitation.
Yeah,
Just break even.
break even. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't even think twice.
But
At 14 days.
fours jumps up to 0.52. So yeah, it's close. Bottom of the range.
Yeah, I take this spot too, Johnny.
Yeah, I think it's okay to take it, okay to pass. I don't think
But
there's a whole lot
I'm
of
glad you
difference.
pulled that up because now I can see it.
Yeah, yeah, I see him as there's money. It's great. I haven't really figured out how to use it fully, like with especially when you get multiple players in, you have to fill out everybody's overcall range, and there's like
Yeah. It
8
gets
different
stupid.
ranges over here that pop up, and I really don't know what to do with those. But spots like this, it's great to have.
Well, they don't label it, right? They don't label it. Like one of them's their calling range, one of them
Yeah,
is
yeah,
calling
yeah. They're
range.
not. You're right. They're not labeled very well. I guess it would serve me well to go watch some tutorial videos on it. So we call Tuesday
Just
spot.
call.
What are
Oh,
we
we
what are we
ISO'd.
labeling?
Like
What's not labeling well?
what's the we jammed. We did ISO.
Uh, the ICMizers, like if you have 3 or 4 people in here, they'll have that's gone now. They'll have weird ranges down here, and all it really says next to it is O or C, or just it's really not labeled very well, I think.
I didn't even know you can change that.
So we re-ISO'd and lose. That's okay. We can lose one and still be okay. I think it's.
Especially after taking that hit with the threes, you're just like, all right, I need to back off a second. Like, I feel you. I'm popping it. No, yeah.
Yeah, it's the bottom of our ace off.
I'm popping it.
Yeah, I think ace jack off is button cut off. Yeah, that's the bottom of the open range. And one thing I always try to look at when I'm opening the bottom of my range, especially from early position, is to look at all the stack sizes. So you've got a 9, a 10, a 10, and a 22, and I've got him marked as an aggro in the big blinds. But I'm probably still opening here with my stack size and probably calling off this one, calling off this one, calling off this one. I'll probably fold to 20 bigs though, I think.
So are you considering open size, or are you more of like, okay, I'm just going to min raise it, and who am I going to call off?
No, I think I know we're above 100 bigs, but everybody else is
Right.
pretty short. So I try to keep, I guess, the raise sizes accurate to effective size.
Okay, right.
So I'll just min raise it. I mean, I can make it, 2.5, and I've seen people do that. I've seen Geek do it on stream. He'll raise, to 37 or 42 in a spot like this to try to maximize his fold equity. And I used to think like that a little bit, but then you think, if they have a hand they're going to jam with, they're going to jam it regardless. And if this guy wakes up with aces, it's not going to make a damn bit of difference to him whether I raise 3,000 or 12,000. This dude's getting in, and we're just losing that extra we put on top of the min bet. And over 2,000 hands or 30,000 hands in a month, that those 500 chips you're losing extra every time you raise, I think add up to a lot to make you want to just min raise.
Yeah. And I ask because like I'm in that same boat. Like I would say probably a month ago, I was all about just like basing it off my stack. I'd be raising like 3x here and calling jams, right? Push big stacks. But because Toe was in the group. I don't know. It was probably about maybe 3 weeks ago. He was like, "Yeah, it should be off effective stack," and I was like, "Oh, I didn't know that." So that's when I started taking the kind of the angle in this spot. I'm like, yeah, just min raise it and then just evaluate who we're going to call on the jam.
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, it works the same thing with 3-bets. Like my general, I 3-bet large. My general 3-bets are 3.5 or so. But if I see a bunch of guys with like 15, 16 blinds effective, then I don't need to have to go 3.5. I can go 2.5, 2.7, something like that, and have it be just as effective because their stacks are smaller, right? And we lose less if we're 3-bet bailing in some situations.
Yeah, I think that's another thing I need to refine is my 3-bet sizing, especially dependent on effective stack size. Like normally, like I've got it pre-programmed in my table tamer where I can just pop a button and it'll 3.2 or 3.5. It'll automatically, 3x it for me. And there for the longest time, I would, 3.2 or 3.5. I would make it a little bit above 3x the deeper I was. But lately, I'm just doing it a little under 3x. I think I can probably achieve the same effect with less chips and.
Yeah, sometimes you can even use it to your advantage where you can like click back to induce.
Right.
I
Yeah,
like
and that's something I never really do is click back, and maybe that's something I should look at
Especially if you're doing it to induce. Yeah.
implementing. Yeah,
Or in
for sure.
sometimes certain scenarios, if you a guy who's like 18 blinds deep and he's raising from the cutoff, you might be able to get a click back through with like a king queen. Because their stacks are so volatile.
Would you be more likely to target a reg or a rec with that move?
Definitely a wreck.
Yeah. Well, you don't think the
That's
thinking?
interesting. Actually, I might go reg because a reg's gonna have folds where a rec might not.
Right. I think the rec might be more likely to say "fuck it, I'm going with it,"
And just jam it. Yeah.
and the reg would, the thinking player would see that as super strength and say, I'm not gonna touch it with a 10-foot pole. I'm just gonna let it go.
I think I agree.
Yeah. It's interesting, and it's interesting, to I guess in certain spots, I don't want to start 3-betting light spewing, but maybe in certain spots against a reg that leans aggro, maybe working in some click back 3-bets with just any two.
Yeah, because generally it's kind of like when your dog is acting up and you kind of like give them a little flick on the nose and they just kind of sit there and blink at you for a second. It's the same thing with a click back, right? You're like, and then you just flat, and then the other guy's got the initiative, and then he c-bets, you miss both spots like everybody does, and what do you do?
Yeah.
What do you do with ace king? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I think it's good to, like Johnny mentioned earlier, to stick with your ABC and your game plan. But once you get to the point where you've got the basics down pretty well, I think maybe experimenting with stuff like that, different moves, open up your game a little bit. I think that might be something worth putting a little thought into for sure.
I always use the matrix kind of analogy. Once you get to see the matrix, then you can start betting the spoon, type of thing.
Yeah. And especially in a spot like this where you've got 140 bigs and the next person, the closest person to you at the table has got half that. That's like the perfect opportunity, I think, to maybe experiment with some stuff like that.
Nobody wants to fuck with you.
Mm-hmm. Let's fold. Just like this. Like normally, I would never open. Most of the time, I'm not going to open an 8-4, but on the button, 20, 30. Like if I was to open this, I would look at his 3-bet stats, and small blind is a 3-better. He's got 14 big blind, so based on this guy 3-betting 14 with a reshove stack, I might just let that go.
What would you do with like 8, 9 of hearts here?
It's 8, 9 of hearts, probably open fold.
You throw a limp in your game, because that way you can limp and they can raise you and you can still flat.
Mm-hmm.
That's my fault. Well, maybe not this, but like 8-6 suited, 8-7 suited, 8-9 suited, those kind of fall into that category.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can throw a limp in if you have a super aggro in the blinds and you don't want to get off a pretty hand that you want to play in position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I haven't worked that into my game too much at all, but the few times I have done it, it never really worked out for me. They would raise or donk lead the flop, and I guess it's maybe not enough of a sample size to make a judgment on whether or not it'll work for me.
I just feel like we either hit the home run or we just we just basically fold to the c-bet. I mean, I see the theory behind it.
Yeah, the good thing is you get a hand that flops well, and if they check, you can c-bet any flop. It doesn't matter. And
right.
If they raise you, you can flat play accordingly.
Yeah.
Have options.
Yeah, like it keeps the pot small, which is always good. So we just let it go. But yeah, that might have been a good one to lip. Take that. And
me personally, I'm just opening there. I'm just I'm just applying pressure and I'm folding to a 3-bet. Like, it's just standard.
I don't think that's bad, but I think the more that, especially on ACR, when you've got more of a better, more reg heavy field and people that are paying attention, I don't want to see a bunch of people. I don't want a bunch of people to see me open folding a lot. I don't want them to,
Yeah.
to get the idea that I'm going to be pushed around, or they can just come over the top of whatever and I'm going to fold. Like my fold to 3-bet, I try to not let it get over 50 or 60. Like when it starts getting up to 60 or 70, I tighten myself up.
Okay, I see what you're saying. And what are you at right now? You're at 40. So
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I probably still would done it with 40. I mean, it's like because I see where you're coming from there, but also too, it's like when you actually have a hand, you want them to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's give and take.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I mean, we're kind of just playing our own image, but I think I could probably get through based off of stacks. Like, I'd be willing to see one more like that. Like,
yeah.
But after that 8-4, if I got raised off that 8-4, that's probably when I would start thinking. I'd be like, okay, I need to like calm down now. I'm getting up there. You know.
It's a balance for sure. What do you guys like doing here with the King 10,
Mm.
the hijack open?
2015, you got 42 bigs. Still got rejam stacks. I'm kind of worried of the rejam stacks. I might let this go because I feel like this is like a 3-bet or fold situation. Like, you're not going to flat this.
Yeah.
And I'm not liking the rejam stacks. I might look for a better spot.
Anybody else?
I agree with all that. I like the announcement.
I like just letting it go.
But I would 3-bet if there weren't short stacks behind.
Right. Yeah. If these guys didn't have shove stacks and this guy didn't have a 14% fold to 3-bet, I could see that would be at the bottom of my range, but for sure 3-bet folding that.
Were you gonna ask something, Toro?
No, I was just saying I would have folded too, but I like what you guys said afterwards because I wasn't thinking in terms of if they had different stack sizes, I would approach it differently.
Yeah, less likely to face that rejam pressure would lead to.
And also, like, I just don't want to raise this, have the original guy fold, and then be committed to one of these short stacks and show King 10 with my tail between my legs.
Yeah. 8-10 suited. Anybody opening this?
Not from me.
Hold on. Let me look. No, I'm folding. I would have had to check it, but yeah, I would have folded. I'd fold.
Anybody opening it?
No.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a good fold, especially with 10 bigs in the big blind, 16, 19. I think it's a definite fold. What about ace-10 off from the button cutoff? From under the gun too?
Fold.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna open this one, but it's a little bit out of the range.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's bottom of the line, especially with the 17 and an 8. The 8 I would probably call off. I would fold to 17, fold to 16. But again, you want to keep the pressure on, and you don't want to play too scared of getting rejammed on. But yeah, definitely at the bottom of the range, I think. Ace-10 suited all day.
Yeah, the good thing about this is we block the ace-x hands, right? So they're going to have less aces possible. And, the other thing, too, is when we're thinking about these short stacks rejamming, we have to realize they have to have a hand that's rejammable.
Right.
And, we block a lot of that with ace-10, right?
Yeah, I mean, the lowest, they're probably going to rejam 20 bigs with. General population is probably, 6s or 7s and king, queen, which, we're pretty okay against. Fold. Ace jack facing an open and an 8 big jam. What do you guys like?
God damn it.
This guy's an aggro 38-33.
How many blinds do the opener have?
45.
This would be one of those spots that, like, if I had time to think about it, I'd end up finding a call. But if I had like 5 tables going and I was playing 3 hands, I'd just be like, I don't want to think about it. I fold. And then we would end up reviewing the tournament, and I'd get yelled at. Like, if you want my evaluation of what we should do here, that's exactly what happened.
Joe is going to come into your stream and tell you to mark that hand.
Oh yeah, like the kings. Come in, you see one hand, mark the king, mark those kings, and send that in, please.
I think it's an okay spot to pass on. I don't want to play out of position against an aggro with 45 bigs with a weak, not a weak offsuit ace, but you know it's not the best. Not the best.
So we're not really worried about the 8-blind jam, right? That could be wide as fuck. It's 8 wide.
Right.
I would consider clicking this back and then folding.
Mm-hmm.
If we click it back, it's like 15 or 16, right? I can't see the numbers.
Yeah. It would be 17, a little over 17 for a click. No, you're 18. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, about 15 or 16.
How much do they have in 70 something? So I can still fold. So yeah, I would consider clicking back just to get heads up with the short shove.
That's interesting. Yeah, because I mean, he's got to be pretty strong to commit.
That, and had the short shove not happened, I would have 3-bet this anyway. So I'm just kind of have an idea.
So I see the color code. Is that orange? What is your orange?
Aggressive aggro.
That would make me even want that. Unfortunately, just because I don't want to play for stacks early, like that would make me want to like fold even more. Unfortunately, because I don't want to play for 45 games.
Yeah,
that's why
I get that.
I'm going to click back and fold.
Yeah,
I'm not playing for the whole stack.
And I know we've only got 21 hands on him, but when I mark somebody aggro, their opening range is usually wider than your average Joe. Like he's opening 33%. Given it's only over 21, but that would make me want to play with him more. Maybe not out of position as much as in position, but I still want to get in and tussle with him a little bit, having the range advantage for sure, more often than not. But yeah, I don't hate the click back. I think normally I would just fold this spot and get out of the way and stack preserve, but maybe that's a spot where I could pick up some profit that I'm passing on that I shouldn't be.
Because like,
so we do fold. We would have split it with that guy.
Yeah, King Queen would have called because people overplay King Queen. You see bet the flop, you take it down.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Fold.
Yeah, and then by clicking it back, we started a side pot, and we don't have to bet a whole lot into it because of the side pot.
Yeah, that's another thing to look at.
Like, yeah, I like it actually, because by clicking it back, the side pot's so small, we don't have to bet a whole lot.
So would you go small, big, or a little under half
like
pot?
Here, I would go like maybe even under a third. I can't see what the numbers are because I'm in the car, but what's the pot? 31?
Mm-hmm.
So assuming it was 31, I would bet like 10, 12, something like that.
Yeah, and that's what I usually do, but here lately, I mean, are you driving?
Yeah.
Oh, be safe, man.
They're not pulling me over.
like his king queen or his ace queen, his ace king. I think they're all floating to a third, and I want to fold those out.
Yeah, the problem is like when you bet these pots, like they're either coming along or they're not most of the time, right? So if they're either coming along or they're not, I don't have to risk that much to get them to fold. When he's got the hands like king queen here, king jack suited that isn't hard, king, I don't know, things like that, things that miss. They're just gonna fold. Ace king might float one here, yeah.
So if
I bet a third here, a little less, and get called, I am almost never continuing on turns.
Right. So if you're in this guy's spot with ace queen off, are you folding to a third size pot bet?
With no heart?
maybe with the ace of hearts. You'd probably continue.
With the heart, I'm continuing for sure. Without a heart, I don't know. It puts me in a really hard spot. I got overs in the back door.
Right.
Are my overs good? I don't know. Like, it's that same thing where we were talking about the click back before, where it kind of just smacks you in the nose and makes you stand there and blink. With ace queen or ace king, I might fold thinking if I have ace king and ace queen, what do they have? They have a pair. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
not much else, right?
Yeah.
Because we do have a few tens. Like, we got more tens than they do in the calling range.
Also, when we click back, we have all the overpairs. We have that too.
Oh yeah.
What do you think about sizing up from like 28 or 30 to like 43? You think that's still just, wasting chips in the long run?
I don't.
Yeah, because I think when you go 43, I mean, I guess, are you still getting ace king to fold? I don't know. Less than half, I don't think people just don't fucking fold.
Right.
That's why I go small or big. I don't want to go 2/3 here. I think that's lighting chips on fire. I don't really want to go 60%. I think that's lighting chips on fire. So I guess we can go 40, but I don't think we need to.
I kind of see this like last week. We had a spot where Toe was like, honestly, in this spot, like if they're coming along for a small, they're coming along for a big. And I really kind of feel like as this was played, that if they're coming along for a small, they're coming along for a big. I mean, I just kind of, that's what I sense with this.
I agree, but I also think if they're folding for small, if they're folding for big, they're folding for small. It works both ways.
Right. Sure.
You know what I mean?
So you like going small with your ace jacks and your aces here?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And if I have aces without a heart, I would bet small here. If I have aces with a heart, I might even check it just because there's not a lot of scary cards in a 3-bet pot that hit this flop. If this was somehow not a 3-bet pot, and I'd be a little more scared because now an 8, a 9, a 7, a heart, all kind of bad, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you check your aces and he checks back. That king of hearts comes. You like small again?
No, I'm bombing.
I think I like big.
It's got the kings, it's got the jacks, it's got single hearts, it's got queen jack.
Yeah,
it's got gut shot.
It's super wet, and any piece of that he has is probably calling anyways. Queen of hearts. If we don't have the ace of hearts coming along, we might as well charge him for it. I like going big too. Yeah, it's a good one. Good one to dig through. What do you guys like doing here facing hijack open?
3-betting it. Because I'm probably calling, I'm calling everyone but Marley poker. So I'm actually probably 3-betting this big, honestly, because I'm calling everyone but Marley. Well, I might fold to a 32. I might fold to a 4-bet from the initial raiser. But Yas and ACLs and FG, JK, I'm calling all of them. So I'm probably taking this up to, let's go for 12, about 40.
See, this is another one of those spots where
I'd go 15,000.
Yeah, I like going less than 3x because, you've got these two shorties. If they want to come along, you want to kind of entice them with a smaller bet sizing. But the charts I have for RYE cutoff versus MP, which is essentially the same as cutoff versus hijack, it's pretty close. They've got half the time 3-bet, call 4-bet for Jack, and half the time they've got it as call and jam versus a squeeze, which I think is, it's okay to mix in, but I think your standard here is probably 3-bet.
I think it's funny you say that because I almost always 3-bet jacks and have been going towards flat in some of these spots more often.
Yeah, because then you get the guy with 15 bigs and pocket fives or ace 10 suited or king queen, king jack, king 10. That king 10 suited might well, this is a perfect squeeze spot to just jam. And I would think the same thing with
Yep.
20 bigs. If somebody opens flats and I've got ace 10 suited with 25 bigs, chances
All
are I'm
day.
just going to jam and get it in.
My
And-
thing is, it's like if we bet small, right? All these guys, well, except for Marley Poker and fun Forteo with our chip stack, he might actually go ahead and get it in with like queens plus, right? But if we bet small, all these small stacks are going to get it in with like they're going to get it in with like queens plus. It's what's going to happen. But if we bet big, we're actually enticing.
Yeah, but they're going to get in with just worse than
with,
that
like,
as well, right?
sevens.
They're going to get it in with nines. They're going to get it in with suited aces that they're going to rejam with, some suited paints they're overplaying. I think you need to widen your range there, right?
Yeah.
Right, but
Here,
they're more likely.
from what I can tell, the big blind's got like 90K and the big a 90K stack, and the big blind is 2K, right? Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
So in that case, I'd probably three bet my normal size because that's the guy I really want to come along
Yeah.
and get value from. I don't really give a fuck about the short stacks or what they do. If they have between 10 and 20 blinds, like they're just gonna rejam or not, right?
Yeah.
So I would go. I think if it was 4K, I would go like 14 or something.
Yeah. 14, 15. And I think looking at the blinds, this is the aggro guy. Of course, we've only got 24 hands on him. So I think flatting and getting it in versus a squeeze is fine. 3-betting's fine. I think either way is they're both profitable, I think.
Yeah, if you have the specific read that the guy in the big blind is the kind of guy that squeezes a lot, then or is super aggressive, then I like the flat for sure because we want to get pros, right?
Yeah. So if you've got an aggressive guy in the blinds that you think is more likely to just jam, get it in, or squeeze versus an open and a call, 100% I think is a perfect spot to just call and let them stack off with their 10s, their 9s, their 8s, their ace 10s, their weak shit that they think they can just steal a pot from, because that's another thing I've been looking into is rejamming between 20 and 35, 40 bigs, with hands that I would usually flat and play post, but being out of position, like my ace 10 suited or my king queen suited, king jack suited, a lot of the times I'll just jam that 20 to 30 bigs and just take the pot down and not have to play out of position at all.
Yeah, great scenario for that, like in the small blind with pocket fives, there's a button and a cutoff, action.
Yeah.
And you have 35 bigs, jam the fives all day.
Yeah, and if you plug it into, what would you plug it into? Yeah, if you look at it, you run the equity, it's a profitable jam. If you look at your charts, I don't know. I guess there's other charts out there, but the raise your edge charts are just all profitable raises. They've got profitable rejams, like small blind versus hijack open. I can rejam 8-9 suited profitably for 20 bigs. Like if hijack opens, I've got 8-9 suited in the small blind. 20 big rejam is profitable, and you can go super low and still make money in the long run. It's really an interesting spot to look at for sure.
Fold equity is a powerful thing.
Yeah. It was either you or Snoss that told me fold equity is the most important thing in poker. And I'll never forget that for sure. So we do decide to 3-bet, and it's a little on the small side, 12. Everybody folds.
That's pretty standard.
Yeah.
That's what I would have raised it to last week.
Yeah.
But since I was telling you in that 10K where I was just like 3-betting just like crazy, and my sizes were like 3.5, 4, like a lot of the time, even with a large stack, and I was just pulling pots. So I don't know. It might have. I'm kind of gauging it off of one tournament, so my sample size isn't the greatest, but it felt so comfortable doing that. And even when I got calls, I was almost always in.
I mean, I can tell you I have between a 12 and 15% 3-bet depending on the tournament. And I do that shit all day, 3.5.
Yeah. I mean, if you go into Poker Tracker and filter for all of your pots, you've 3-bet and played in position, you're 100% fucking printing money all day. Like the win rate will be in the hundreds. That's the spot you want to be in as often as possible, because they're going to be out of position. They're going to check. You're going to bet. They're going to fold. That's going to happen.
And I actually have I have a pre-flop call stat. So like anytime you call any bet, so it could be a 3-bet, 4-bet, whatever. Anytime you call, it'll register it. I literally was like at 7% call rate with like a 20% 3-bet rate. Like I was not calling shit.
Yeah,
Hardly at all.
I think that's the number I keep here. Call any pre-flop raise.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
It's
that's
interesting too. Like sometimes you get tournaments where you're running over them like crazy, and like I don't know, I'll be like a 30-27 with like a 12% 3-bet. I'm like, these fucks can't possibly fold to me again, can they? Nope, they do.
Yep.
they just do. It's about knowing your table, right?
Yeah. We'll fold that. Fold that. Jack 8 suited, I think. Any of you guys opening this?
Yeah.
Button cut off hijack from MP.
No.
14, 20, so we're 50 effective on the table. Let's put 40 MP. It's bottom of the range. Open fold to 3-bet. You've got 10 big, a 14 big, a 23 in the blind. I don't mind opening it, but I think it's okay to pass on it too. It's definitely bottom of the range. I would feel better opening it from the cutoff or hijack than middle position, but I wouldn't mind open folding there.
I think even the low jack is open potentially, but yeah, it's a little early.
Yeah. So we let it go. King Queen, you guys opening this?
Yeah.
I think so too.
No. Wait, yeah, I am. Never mind. I was looking at Queen. I was looking at King Jack.
Yeah, it's definitely towards the bottom of the range. An interesting thing I noted when I first got into Raise Your Edge, I think it was especially 100 bigs deep, or maybe even 40 bigs deep. Under the gun, King Queen off was a fold. It wasn't an open, and they updated the ranges and they snuck it back in there. And now open raising 100 big blinds under the gun, half the time King Queen off is a fold, and half the time it's an open. Same with Ace Jack off. Half the time it's a fold, half the time it's an open. So it's marginal, and sometimes you shouldn't even open it. And there for the longest time I wasn't like opening it at all. But the shorter you go, 40 bigs, you can open it comfortably. But 100 bigs, I think it's okay to pass on from time to time.
Do you know why it is that the shorter your stack, the more reason why you can open it? I'm curious if you guys know. The reason is because when you have a shorter stack and you hit a king or a queen, you're always just going, and you get to fully realize your equity. When you have 100 bigs deep and you hit a king or a queen and it goes 3-bet, bet, you get bet off your hand.
Yep, that makes sense.
So you don't get to realize your equity.
That's good. I like that. Yeah, for sure.
So that actually brings up an interesting point that I have wondered for years, and I'm just going to throw it out there because I think the answer is going to be different from everybody. When it says open 50% of the time, so you're folding it 50% of the time, how do you know when to open it and when not to? You just pull up a random number generator, and if it's above 50, you do it, and if it's below 50,
you know how Isaac Haxton does it?
They look at a clock, don't they?
He does.
Yeah.
If the second hand is on the back half, then that's the time he opens it. And the second hand's on the front half, he folds it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really have to do with player types around you at all. Because I've actually heard people say, well, if they're a lot more like, if they're a lot more likely to make the call, or they're more likely to 3-bet you, then go ahead and get out. But if the majority of the table is more likely to like fold or flat, then
yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%.
You know the biggest flaw in the clock theory?
Yeah, the clock theory. Your phone's breaking up.
19. Who the fuck has an analog clock? Everything's digital.
Your phone was breaking up. I didn't hear you.
Who the fuck has an analog clock? Everything is digital.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
That's the problem with the clock theory.
yeah,
I guess if you're Ike Haxton, you can afford a Rolex.
yeah. At these stakes and probably even the 100 and up buy-ins, super high rollers probably uh, more that would often matter more. I think the table dynamics and the player tendencies are going to be more effective in choosing whether you open it or not than
Yeah, well, if I'm
randomizing.
honest, at like 55 and under, I'm just opening both those hands 100% because the
Yeah,
fields are weaker.
yeah, for sure.
In
But yeah,
the main event, maybe you should fold it.
yeah, yeah. So we take that down. And that's the thing too. You start opening 3-betting. This shit happens a lot more. You get walks, and they'll just give you chips. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a stack, right? They're like, oh, Jesus,
Mhm.
he's going to 3-bet
Yep.
me. Yeah.
100%. That's another thing. When I first started getting coaching from Snost, one thing he mentioned was you want to build early, and you want to get out there and take some risks. Just try to build a stack early because it's so good to have going into the mid and late stages, and I think it puts you at such an advantage, which makes you that much more likely to cash deep, make a final table, get a top 3 bank. It all starts building early at your baseline. I think that's where
Yeah,
it starts.
especially when you're deep and people get scared and the page up's like, you have such incredible fold equity.
Yeah.
If you have enough chips that you can wield them and just get people to hand blinds to you, it's super profitable.
Yeah. So I mean, especially if you're playing on ACR and you have the roll to toss in a bullet or two, which I usually don't. The $11, I'll throw in 2 bullets if I have to. The 22s and the 33s, I don't like to rebuy. But if you're in a tight spot, where you're flipping, early, take it. Try to get that stack going.
And with me too, like I'll compound on what you just said there. Like with me, I'm all about like my per hour rate. Like when I'm studying and I'm checking spots to see what's good, it's all about like how many big blinds per 100. But when it comes to my overall like performance, I base it off of my hourly rate. So like if we build the stack early, then we're more likely to make some money, right? Or we're more likely to bust. And if we bust, then we're not spending a whole bunch of time on it and bubbling it, right? So that's kind of my input on that.
That's a cash game mentality, not a tournament mentality, right? Because like an hour in a tournament, you might not make any chips just because you went card dead for an hour.
Yeah, I think.
That's yeah. But when it's there and you can especially passive players, like if you can exploit it and you can get them to get upset and start calling you off with garbage, and you start building the stack, awesome. But then if they get lucky and you bust early because they got lucky, you don't have to spend all day and then bubble.
And you can fire up another table. In place of that.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, in cash, when it comes to cash, I just pretty much I'm like, okay, I'm sitting down at 3 o'clock and I'm gonna stay till 5. If I bust out before 5, then I'm done. If I'm down $50 at 5, I leave. If I'm up only like $20 because I lost a huge hand at like 450, I'm out. Like it's just I just time myself that way.
You guys like coming along in the small blind? Jack 10 off, facing hijack open off 20 bigs.
I would feel better closing the action in the big blinds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not comfortable squeezing it, I don't think.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else coming along or folding?
I probably fold here.
Yeah, I think I do too. Facing under early position open, this guy's got a strong flat range off 200 hands. He's only calling 5% of pre-flop raises, so that's super strong. I don't want to stack off 20 bigs with Jack 10, so I think I just let it go. This would be a close one. King Jack suited facing an 11 big, hijack jam.
And this is pretty much a vacuum, right? He's 3-3.
Right.
He's got 31 hands.
3-3, 31.
Yeah.
But he's been sitting on 11 blinds probably the whole time, though, hasn't he?
Here's the
Probably
problem, Johnny, is
close
that
to it.
this is not a spot where we're playing the player. This is straight math call or not.
Mm.
And the problem is that you have people that wake up behind you, so this is probably a fold, I would bet. This is the same exact spot, whereas if you're in the big blind, it's a snap call. But here, I think this might be a fold. I can't see the stack size behind, but it's definitely one for ICM either.
Small blind has 12, big blind has 30. We can run it real quick if you guys want. Give them some.
Yeah, run it through. I'm
It's always
curious.
good to look at these spots over and over again, so you know. Like that ace-4 spot, we all said we were folding.
So, when you run it toe, do you just leave what they already have here in the small blind and big blind?
I always leave it here at Nash and run it, and then fuck with it after and run it again, so I can kind of compare.
So it's just
profitable.
call.
Is it a call? I can't see the icon.
Yeah, at 0.45 big blind.
So it's a massive call.
Yeah, so I
Sure.
think 11 bigs, he's probably jamming any ace, any pair. I think that looks pretty accurate.
It looks pretty accurate.
The small blind, if we flat, what's he going to come along with? Sixes, maybe. Ace jack, maybe. I think that's pretty close, pretty accurate.
Yeah.
And we can maybe even make it a little bit tighter to take that out. Big blind for 30 bigs. He's probably calling. I think it's pretty accurate. He might call that. I don't think it changes much.
Nope.
It's a call.
It's a call. I was wrong.
It's close. All right. I think I would probably call it and fold to a jam from this guy. I don't want to stack off 30 bigs, but I would call. He's got the same. So let's see. We ended up folding. That's a mistake. Should have called.
Do you have ICM either open when you play?
No.
So I don't run it while I'm in the hand because that's against the rules. But like immediately when the hand's over, I copy and paste and run them like in game just because I need to know.
Sometimes I've done that sometimes, and usually I'll just keep playing. Cause I've got 6 tables going, and it's like my max, and I've got stuff going on in the background. But yeah, so like I guess they don't have detectors that can see that that's open. Because I know Stars has some kind of like.
Yeah, they do.
I haven't got dinged. Oh, I don't know if I leave it open as much as I turn it on when I need it.
Yeah.
So maybe they don't catch it because it's not on the whole time.
You know, it's quick and easy. You know, copy paste, bam, there it is.
Yeah, I mark the hand, and then while I'm talking to other shit, I'm like, I even on stream, I'm like, I gotta check this out, and I'll do it on stream.
Yeah. Do you use Hold'em Resources Calculator at all?
The Equilabs one?
HRC? I don't know if that's the same thing as Power. I think it's different. I think they're different. I've got the free trials, but I don't mess with them that often. I think Hold'em Resources Calculator is more. It's like PT4 to Hold'em Manager. It's a little more not user friendly. I don't know. I've never messed with it. I think they do essentially the same thing. I think you may be able to do a little bit more with it. Yeah, it's interesting. This is the.
For me, it's ICMizer, Swapzilla, and Equilabs.
Yeah. This is the solver I picked up recently for like $75, and it's pretty interesting. I haven't had a whole lot of time to play around with it, but it looks pretty interesting, and it's quick too. Like it doesn't take hours. You don't have to run it overnight.
Right.
Just set your pot, your effective stacks.
It's way simpler than Pio. Pio's a
It's
bitch.
super simple, man. Whether you want to, and it's kind of complicated in the aspect whether you want to get your, and I still have to watch some more tutorial videos, I think, to do it super effectively. But you know, it's like 10 seconds, it's done.
I have this thing called Easy Analyzer. It only works in heads up pots, but like if you're in a spot where you want to kind of like condense down ranges, like based off of bet sizes, it'll like spit out the equity based off of how you condense down the range and like how your range sets against their range. I have that, and then I have a Monker solver, which is a free PTO solver, but it kind of works like Equilabs, where it's just like it spits out the number and then just constantly keeps running it, and then the numbers change. It doesn't like give you a number after it's solved it, right? It's just like it gives you the number as it's solving it. So it's always changing, but it gives you a general idea where you're at.
I've heard of that and I haven't used it, but I think this is going to be super neat to look at. Like if I'm in the button and this is your in position player and your out of position. If I'm in the button and the cutoff opens and I just flatten, it's just us two, and I throw in our ranges and he bets, I can see on a certain type of board baseline what I'm supposed to be calling, what I'm supposed to be folding, what I'm supposed to be raising, and kind of you can't do individual hands, but you can go in and see what you're supposed to do with. I think it's gonna be real neat to have that in my arsenal.
Yeah, I mean, the group I'm in runs pile all the time, and it's definitely eye-opening for sure.
Yeah, the few hands that I have run, it's been surprising how much I should call. Like the one hand I ran, I had pocket tens on a queen jack board, and the stacks were pretty close. It was close to a one stack part ratio, and it had me calling off there, and I was super surprised at calling off tens with a queen jack on board.
Yeah.
Standard fold.
Oh, thank you, babe. Breakfast for dinner, y'all. I got breakfast for dinner.
That mean eggs or pancakes?
All right, guys, I gotta sign off. I'm gonna be back if the wife lets me. Otherwise, I'll talk to you soon.
Right. Take care, man.
Take it easy, Joe.
Thanks so much.
You guys like opening this?
The low jack? Actually, yeah. I'd open that.
I think normally I would, but I think the reason I folded this is you've got the big blinds over here, 16, 7, and a 9 right here. I think between these three guys, the 3-bet percentages, you've got 12, 6, and 3. So 21% of the time I'm going to get 3-bet. And if you add in this guy, that's 28% of the time. So I think that's a reason why I folded it.
I'm not worried about it. Like,
yeah.
If we had, let's say the 16 was like a 5. Let's say the big blind was like a 5. I could see the justification there. But I mean, if I get bet off of it, I get bet off of it. Like, I don't want to be exploitable on the tight side.
Yeah, it's an easy fold for sure, and everybody folded, so yeah, I don't mind opening it. A6 suited.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I would be more likely to open the A6 than the 8-9. We've got the ace blocker. I could probably call off a 9 and a 7. I might fold to the 17 and the 18. So this guy jams for 18. You guys calling or letting go?
I'd probably be letting go.
Yeah.
Is the big number the 18 his VPIP?
The 8. This is his big blinds. This is
big
VPIP. PFR.
So he's that tight.
Yeah, he's super tight off of 200 hands.
I'm folding.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's 3-bet 3%. I fold. I'm dominated for sure.
I think so too. Fold. Button cutoff. I think it's close, but I would probably lean towards folding that. I think maybe 5s or 6s.
I'm not opening there unless I'm in the low jack or better.
Yeah.
Can I mention something? Because I'm just curious what you guys think of this. My thinking on folding there is I'm looking at the stack sizes and I'm thinking if the 9,000 decides to jam, there's no way I'm putting 9,000 in for this.
Well,
so is that like not a good way to think about it?
I guess it's more. I guess the simple way to look at it really is just unexploitable ranges in general, right? So the easiest way to remember it is low jack or better any pair, low jack or later sevens plus, like
Okay.
or under the gun tube or later sevens plus. Like it's really just one of those unexploitable range kind of things. Like it's not really about the math at all. It's just straight up unexploitable range.
Okay.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? So the low jack would be the fourth from the button.
Right. Yeah, I'm
And
familiar with
then
positions.
you're under the gun spots, your last three spots, you basically you fold sevens or sixes or lower. Like you were saying, some people like to throw the sixes and still play them, but I go sevens plus.
You guys like calling here, raising?
Against 42,
Cut
I don't
off
want to get 3-bet off. I'll flat it.
against an MP open. Yeah, I think I like flatting more than raising too. Ace jack off, I might 3-bet fold, but I like ace jack suited. I think it plays well post flop. So small blind versus MP. Yeah, ace jack suited calls. Flat, flat. You like a check, or is anybody betting?
We pair it up. Check and middle pair.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to bet. If we bet and get called, we're in a sticky spot on the turn. I think we got an
Alright.
easy
So
check call.
before you go to the next card, before you show it, if that jack was a king, do we have a justification for a dunk? Like a small dunk, like 4K, maybe 5K, 5.5.
I've been mixing in some donk bets, but that board's so wet. Yeah, I don't have any folded donks. I would probably be more likely to check raise than to donk.
Well, I guess you're right. I guess it would come down to how aggressive your villains are. So, and we got the skewy guy, so it would be a check raise.
Especially if it was a king of spades. If that was a king of spades, I would probably check raise all day and make it big.
But what if you're in there? What if you're in there with like two fish that never bet?
Two passive fish. I guess it depends on their fold to c-bet if I had any on them, but I would probably just check and try to get the showdown with my pair.
Well, yeah, with the jack. I was talking about with the king. Like obviously, all
king.
situations we're checking here, but I was talking about jack was the king.
I would probably still check the flop. He's got kings in his range. He could have king 8, king 9, king 10, king 7.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of kings. I would probably just check and
That's true.
try to realize my equity instead of trying to push a fish off a hand.
Well, okay. I guess my theory is they're going to call you with 9. They're going to call you with a 9 if you bet super small anyway. And they're not going to give you any value. And then once, let's say the 10 comes, we're not getting any value anymore. Like, it's almost like the donk bet is our value bet, even with the draw, because we're not going to get any value off of them later if we get there.
If I donk, most often, unless I'm looking, to induce a check raise, I'm going to go like at least 43%, a little under half pot. Most donks, for everything, all the studying I've done, super like men donks, like you run into it a lot on ignition, especially like they'll just throw a min bet donk out, and I've always been told just treat that as a check because that's essentially, what that is. They're just trying to buy a cheap turn card, and you should most of the time raise that and not give them what they want.
Yeah.
So that's a good card for us. It goes check. What do you guys like doing here?
I'd almost look for the check raise here. I mean, I'd probably be check calling the flop if the spazzy guy was to actually bet. But he checked, and now with middle pair, in the straight draw, I'm probably just check calling, maybe check raising, depending on the size.
Oh,
What about you? What's your shit? I can't. What's your? Are you
Twirl.
Wisco?
It's
Twirl.
Where's Wisco at? Let's go ahead and talk to any at all, like all sesh.
I don't have my thing up with the names on it.
Yeah. We got Twirl and Wisco,
Oh, he's still on
and
mute.
yeah, my name is also Nick. You can call me either Nick or Twirl.
Okay, cool.
I would have. I would be putting a bet in here. So I probably am looking at around a half pot bet.
if you bet and you get raised, what are you doing?
I guess it depends on how much I'm getting raised.
Hey, dude, you know how many times Toe asks that in a session? He asks me that question like at least 9 times because I say the same thing what Twirl just said, and I'm starting to recognize the spots now. I'm just like,
This is one thing I picked up from another Alex Fitzgerald webinar, which they're great and they're really cheap. Sometimes he gives them away for free, but a key thing he has in a lot of them is and it's like a little thing. I am betting X because of Y. Like I'm betting half pot because I think X will fold, or I'm betting 20% pot because I think Y will call. Like he emphasized that you always want to have a reason to be betting. Like you want to be betting, but you want to have a reason why. Like either you're getting something to fold, or you're getting something to call. And I don't think. I mean, we're getting. I think the hands that we get to fold probably don't have much equity on us, anyways. We get pocket pairs to fold. Fives, six, sevens. But we've got all those beat. So, and everything that calls that, I think, for the most part, has its beat. Like 8 has its beat. Jack, King has its beat. Queen has its beat. 9-10 has its beat. Queen 10 has its beat. I think I like checking here to realize my equity. Probably check call depending on the sizing, but we've got King is great for us on the river. Any spade, Jack, Ace is good.
Okay.
Mainly with I don't like betting with the 4 card straight out there.
so, hey, Toe. So Twirl was like, I'd kind of like to bet here. And you know what my first question to him was?
Yep.
What are you going to do when you get 3-bet?
So yeah, this hand, because I have so much equity, I agree. But if I had air here, I'm plowing this flop. I love this turn because I'm going to bet a big just to force you to have a king. But here I have showdown value and redraw equity.
Yeah, it's a good hand. I agree. Good hand to pop if you don't have anything. I'm trying to buy it for sure.
So I had ace high that didn't have a draw here, or like a pocket sevens and something. I'm bombing this for sure.
Yeah, that's the only way you're going to win. For sure.
Well, I was telling him that, Toe, because I was like, I would say during during Wednesday sessions, Toe probably asked me that same exact question at least 9 times because I'm always wanting to bet these spots. He asked me, what are you going to do when you get
So everybody check the turn, so I think it's safe to say nobody has an 8 or a king. The big blind could potentially have a queen. He checked the flop with a weak queen, but I think it's more likely he doesn't. So you guys like checking or betting here?
I just I like check down value here because I mean it could easily be like a slow played straight. Like
there's also a shitload of 2 pairs that are checking as well. Like
Yeah.
I think we need to get showdown value as well. I don't think we have any thin value here.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot worse that calls, so it's probably better to check call. And we do.
I'm sorry, Twirl, if I put you on the spot. I was just
Not at all. I appreciate it because that's how I learn.
So now you've got the big blind betting half pot.
Yeah.
You guys calling or letting it go?
God. I feel like we have to call it. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot we lose to, but like
So we've got to call 8, to win 32. So we only have to be right 25% of the time to make this a profitable call.
Like, but that's the thing. I don't even think we're right 25% of the time with that board. Like,
If you don't think you're right 25% of the time, then it's a clear call.
Yeah. But you've got to look at it like he just flatted in the big blind. His range is not that strong. It's pretty wide. If I'm in the big blind and I see, oh, well, we folded. And if I see everybody check down all three streets, I'm probably going to lead out and take it. So I think that's merit for calling. I think I probably should have called that.
I definitely hear your argument and agree with that in a lot of ways. I just don't know. Like I might be folding this too. I'm not sure. I feel
Yeah,
like I would fold this game.
I think it's super close, and he's not betting a lot of rivers. He's not getting to a lot of rivers off 200 hands. Not betting a lot of turns.
He's not in pots where it checks down to the river either. It's a three-way pot. Like,
Yeah, maybe leaning fold's good, but I just put myself in the big blind shoe there, and if three people were checking down, I'm always bombing that half pot for sure. I
like
think it's close though.
I mean, if we're betting X for Y, we're calling X for Y, and like the only reason why we would call this is because he's got a busted draw when we have the ace jack of spades.
But he could just have anything. He could have 5-6 or you know
Could
king 5 or king. No, not king 5.
could also have a 6-7.
8-5. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's close.
Yes, I mean it's so polarizing. Either has air or a strong hand because everything in the middle shows down.
Yeah, I think so too. I think any pairs there, just check. 10 standard open. I don't know why I started adding 500 on top. Get a call. Check.
Because you had the bigger stacks in the blinds, I bet.
Yeah, I still don't like it though, especially with this. And I don't know. I mean, if people are gonna call, and I've got a value hand, and you're playing against Rex that don't pay attention, I guess it's okay to size it up a little bit. I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah.
So he checks. What do you guys like doing here?
I'm betting. I'm betting big. I'm denying equity to the diamonds. He's like super wide. I could see a small. But I don't want to see an overcard on the turn either. So like, I would probably just go big and call a check raise.
I'd be betting like 8K here, just a little under, just around half, a little under half.
Like I'm betting 10. I'm betting at least 10, at least.
Yeah, I'm on team big bet because anything that calls anything that's coming along is coming along for my big bet size. He's gonna have air here and fold, or he's gonna have a 9 or a diamond and come along. Like that's all there is to it.
Yeah, or you may get a float from ace 10 with a diamond or king.
You gotta get folds
queen.
from like king queen, right? That's not a bad thing.
Right. Yeah, and this is a spot I've been debating on is whether to bet small, bet big. I think I'm here lately, especially. I've been leaning towards betting at least 40 to 45% to put more, use more of my fold equity on the overs. Like, I don't want to try to extract value from king queen. I want you to fold. So I like going 8K.
I'll be going close to 60. I think I'm somewhere in the 10 to 11 myself.
Yeah, 6 and lately I made a huge mistake last night. I raised with ace queen and bet, and Eric, the chemist guy, he called from the big blind, and I was under the gun, and the flop was like ace 8-3 with 2 clubs, and I 67%ed it, and he just folded, and I think
Yeah, that's a small bet for sure.
I think it was a little too much to bet in that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. I equate that to premature ejaculation.
Yeah,
Yes!
I let my nerves get to me, man. I was,
Happens to all of us.
Did you see that? Did you see that meme I posted? It was like, got it in with quads. It got 3 callers, and it was the South Park guy just sitting in front of his computer, and there's like jizz everywhere.
so see, it's super small, but we get check raised.
See, now we're in a shitty spot, and we don't recognize our equity.
Oh, there's no
Have to
fold
call.
here.
Like,
Yeah, I think for 30 bigs, we always have to go with it. The question is, do we just flat or get it in?
Get it in.
Yeah.
I think so too.
He's got
Get
the
it
flush draw 9. He's coming along now. You don't want to scare him off on the turn when the queen comes.
and if he's got a set, he's got a set. Like, it is.
I don't like that either.
Yeah, because you got scared of the set.
It's funny. I knew the queen was coming.
No reason to bet. It's so small.
Now where are we? Like this?
Oh, we got to call.
Yeah.
We got to
Yeah.
call.
We have to
100%,
call,
I
but it
think.
sucks.
What? He
I
tried.
guess you got max
Yeah.
value.
But you know what? Took him to Value Town.
Yeah.
I mean, he is super spewy. Like, you took him to
Right.
Value Town. It was dangerous as fuck. Like, you took him.
Yeah, I got. I noted that. Yep, that's why he's marked aggro. So yeah, I guess that's
I actually don't hate his bet when you check turn. 'Cause
right.
Like I
right.
said, you want to get value from me, check the turn. Bet the flop, check the turn.
Right.
You know?
Right. I would have liked it to been.
Bet it off.
You think? I think I would probably bet a little bit bigger, maybe closer
Yeah,
to
I
60.
couldn't see the size. I would go huge.
Yeah, it was super small. It was 13 into 50. I would probably go.
Oh, no. I'm
I would
going
probably go like.
35.
Yeah, for sure. Maximize that forward equity. But
Yep.
yeah, I guess.
I don't think
mean-
you might remember, Toe. You remember when me and you were playing in that hand in the home game, and you thought I was like on 10s or something, and I really had like a Jack 4. You bet I called, and then I check raise like the turn, and then I bet out the river like super small, and you're like, well, it's small bet. I have to call. And all you had was like middle pair.
Oh, yeah. All you had to do was bet.
You
Like,
remember
man,
that?
I would have folded it. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were telling me, you're like, don't poke the bear, man. Don't poke the bear.
So another thought I had with this, and maybe merit to betting small against certain opponents that might be more predispositioned to check raise you. That's 100% a range advantage for him, I think. So is there merit into betting 25 to 35% in hopes of inducing a check raise, just like
I mean,
we
he's
saw?
kind of got to have a big 3-bet number for me because I don't think a lot of people turn 8-5 and no bluff here. Well, this guy did it, and I think it's kind of sexy. I don't think the vast majority of public are doing that.
Right.
And I wonder if he just bails if you bet 2/3 spot.
If he just
I don't know.
what?
If he bails if you bet 2/3 spot or 60. You know,
Yeah, he does.
if he bails or if he's still 3-bets. If he's still 3-bets, then we lost value, right? It's kind of that weird balance.
Yeah. I don't think he would. I mean, I don't know the player, but I think most people would be.
It'd be
less
too
likely-
committing to a stack. It'd be for
Yeah,
him to
Right.
three-bet
I
it.
think so.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm sure.
especially off that stack size. I don't see a whole lot of check raising when there's a 65, 60, 67% bet on the larger
Sure.
side.
Sure.
Not to say that it's never going to happen.
You narrowed his range, so now he has to have diamonds or a 9 versus the 8-5 here.
Right.
At the end of the day, if he was gonna bluff check raise, he needed to bomb that river. He needed to just go balls to the wall because this is the only way he was gonna win. Is basically the point I was trying to make. Like,
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
the other point is that he should have bet the turn because the flush
Oh, yeah,
bet there needs to rep it.
100%. And I maybe even called a big bet because of that. Because if I'm check raising with diamonds, I'm never going to check the flush when it comes in. I'm always going to bet, whether it be small or big. Depending on what I think the guy might call, I'm always going to bet it. It's interesting line he took. But I mean, the range he had range advantage there, so it's not a bad move. Ace King. What does he do with facing check raise? Do you continue and float with ace high?
right.
Yeah. What about What about your ace kings there? Do you bet your ace kings? What do you guys think about ace king in this spot?
I check
Well, I would
that.
see that.
Do I have a diamond or not? Do I have the ace of diamonds?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't give a fuck. I'm C betting ace king both ways.
yeah, yeah. And I think, especially with the big blind, I think that's
Yeah.
the spot where you want to be c betting the most. I think is under the gun, facing big blind, and maybe it decreases a little bit the more you come around. And the place where you want to be c betting the least is under the gun with an under the gun one caller.
Right. Because they're both super strong bandits. Here, like,
Yeah,
um, even though this does hit the big blind range, like if it was 9-8-6, 9-7-6, 8-10-6, something like that, I'm more inclined to check back ace king. Those are more
right.
likely. 9-3-4 isn't that connected.
Right. Yeah, that's something to keep in mind for sure. So with Ace King, I still like going big, maybe like half pot at least, a little under half pot.
Yeah, I'd probably go 40.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. Fold. Fold. I'm gonna have to go here in a few minutes, get some food and hang out with the lady.
Right on. You're gonna have to make a part 3.
Yeah, right. Well, let's see how many hands we have. 'Cause, yeah, I don't think we're anywhere near. Yeah, we've still got time left.
Oh my lord.
Yeah.
We might make.
And we don't.
This
And
might
we don't.
be part.
Yeah,
See,
we don't. Yeah, it's a super long tournament. We don't have to go through all these. I mean, it's whatever you guys want to do.
like
It's not just me here.
personally, like I like it because there's so much like ICM, like so much ICM, and I feel like that all tournament players like that's what we need, really. And then just finding ways to maneuver it against the average stacks. That's what's going to win tournaments, I think.
For me, it's I see Johnny's stuff all the time. I see Wisco's stuff all the time. It's not like looking at someone new, but yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, and I've got well, the deep run I had last night. I haven't had a chance to go over it, but I plan on it because there are some interesting spots I marked along the way that I think I need to cover, especially at the final table. You know, I came in 9 of 9 with like eight bigs, so I had to tread lightly and pick my spots, and I think I passed up on a couple of clear profitable button jams for like 8 bigs. Because there was, I was trying to hang around and pick better spots that I think I should have taken. Um, but yeah, it was interesting to see those spots when you get down to it out of a 900-person tournament.
Yeah, I had a weird one when I made the final table at a $33 rebuy and bet online, and there was 4-handed. One guy had 3 blinds, one guy had 5 blinds, one guy had 10 blinds, and I was third with 12 blinds. And so it made a real weird dynamic.
Yeah, yeah.
With ICM.
Yeah, it's super tricky. Yeah, because Bacon's and Bits was there. He had the same amount as me. He had 8 bigs. There was another guy with like 9 bigs. It was like 4 people, under 15. It was super interesting. I guess everybody opening this A7 suited.
Yeah.
You guys like a C bet? Yeah, backdoor clubs, backdoor straight.
I feel like we have to. Like we can bet small here because it's not a scary board. Like we bet small here, and if we get stronger, we can alley-oop turns.
Yeah, and it's a never-ending battle between betting 28%, 34%, 43%, or 67% for me. Like I think I need to figure out which board textures work for certain. Because I mean, we're going to be in this spot 100 times a day. Big blind defend, check back, C bet. We're going to be in that spot all day, every day. So I think that's a spot we need to hone in on and really.
Yeah, the good thing about this is with
I'm
the
also
7 and the club specifically, we block 9-7, Jack 7, any of those straight draw combos type stuff. So I think we can see bet small.
So the more hands.
Basically, like if I think I'm just trying to get this through, right? Like, and I know,
Right,
like
yeah.
Johnny said, I want to bet a lot of turns. I'm going to bet a 9, a queen, a king, an ace, a club, and
Mhm.
so I'm going to bet small here because I'm betting big on a lot of turns.
So
But
taking out the player aspect of it, the more the more the more I block, the more turn cards I have that are good for me, the more I want to bet small,
Yep.
and the less cards that I block, and
Hi.
Double
if
clean, 4x4 clean, 4 fries, medium Coke, large Coke,
Yep.
20.
and the
Yeah,
lesser
the weather
turn,
the board, the less outs you have on the turn,
the
you want to
bigger
bet
you
big.
want to bet. Okay.
and
Or if
we
you're just
also got to consider
really
their
trying to
stack
sell
here
the
too.
bluff,
Though.
right?
Uh huh.
We got to consider their stack too.
For
Like,
sure.
'cause I was
Oh
immediately
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
1/3, like 10,400, but that's way too much. Like, we got to go like super duper small.
Yeah, I guess big relative to the effective stack sometimes takes part, right? Versus
And
big versus the pot. You know?
with I think with him having 10, well, I guess he's gonna get it in whether I bet big or small. If he's gonna get it in, so yeah, might as well bet small. Um,
Well, I'm leaning almost towards the check now because, like, anything that we bet, he jams over the top. What do we do? We gonna call him
Cool.
off?
No, we both.
yeah, I think you
Yeah,
always have to bet. I mean, he's got a lot in his range that's not jamming, it's just folding.
But if
You
we
know.
bet, let's say we bet 1/3, we bet 10,400. That's like half his stack. Like, it's almost half his stack. Like, you gonna still fold?
How many chips do you have in that?
He's got 10 blinds. He's got 24K. There's 16 in the pot.
Oh yeah, so I bet 5K, 6K, and both. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I either check it back or I only bet like 5K.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we go any bigger than that, we're committed.
Oh, so we,
It's shitty.
yeah, I think that was a mistake in checking. So we go for the delayed C bet.
I'm down with the late C bet either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely have to bet turn no matter what. Like, even if we check the flop, we got to bet turn no matter what, I think.
Yeah, if
They're
he
checking,
checks.
I'm a betting.
Oh, yep. All right, well, I think that's going to do it for me, guys. I think I'm going to get off, get some food, and hang out with the lady.
All right, man.
Yeah, it was a good study session, man. I appreciate you guys hanging out and going over these hands with me.
Yeah. Hopefully we can finish this up next week, but it'll probably be the week after next.
Yeah, biggest takeaway: if they 3-bet you on 10 blinds and don't go all in, fold that fucker.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other takeaways or points, thoughts you guys had?
I had one and I forgot to write it down, and now I'm mad at myself.
Yeah, personally, I mean, I think your game is super, super solid. I think there's some little tricks of the trade we can kind of wiggle in here,
Yeah.
you know, to take it next level. But otherwise, man, I think it's super solid for sure. I mean, there was a handful of small mistakes here and there, but you kind of pointed them out yourself.
Yeah.
There was nothing glaring where I was like, oh, Jesus, like this is a leak.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh, 2.5x from the small blind as a minimum or limp lead. Like, that was one. And there was another one too.
Yeah, yeah. I think.
I had to go back and watch it. I had to go back and watch the video and see what.
Yeah, I would try to sway away from min raising the small blind for sure. Even if you're nutted with aces, you know, you want to kind of keep it the same across the board. 2 points, like I said, 2.7 is the lowest I'll go, and increase it by stack size. I know some of the Alex Fitzgerald stuff I watch. He'll just recommend bombing it 4x, 5x, 6x. I don't know how useful that is in today's landscape. As to when he made these videos is, but I usually try not to get too out of line with my sizing.
Oh, that was it. Sizing down 3-bets based off of effective stack. That was it. Yes. So those are the two things I was going to focus on.
A couple other things, I guess. Try to, and I'm working on it always, constantly, because especially when you're 6, 7, 8 tabling, it's so easy to get into autopilot mode and just click buttons. I try to think each hand through, why I'm betting, what I'm trying to accomplish, I'm betting half pot because I want, ace 10 to fold. I want the overs to fold. I'm betting, 67% on this wet board because I want to extract value from this and I want to, charge him for his draws. I'm checking to protect my, to realize my equity. I guess kind of think through your thought processes on each, and it's tough to do to get in the habit of, but I think the more you do it, the more it'll just become, second nature of just always thinking through your decisions. And I think that's one of the most important things that you can do is just to think through. Because, I mean, that's how you're going to make your money, man. You just make better decisions than your opponents over a long period of time, and you're going to print. Um, you're going to have some variance here and there, how the cards fall, but that you can't control that. But you can control the decisions you make. You just want to make the best decisions you can every time.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have read the Jared Tendler books, but the Mental Games of Poker. But he talks about that. It's called unconscious competence. And so basically, what happens is when you learn a skill like that, A7 suited on the 8-10 board, like I just know that I'm c-betting that small 100% of the time. And
Right.
it's just doing this stuff over and over and over again, where you look at that spot, you're like, I already know what I'm doing here. We don't need to think about it. I already know that what I'm betting on the turn and what I'm not. And then it just becomes easier to multi-table and easier to make, and then you can focus on the tougher spots, whatever those tougher spots might be for you.
And I'm glad you brought that up because this is probably the first time in my entire poker career that I actually feel like I'm getting to that point now, where it's just like I recognize the spot and I know exactly what to do. Like, yeah, I got a ton to learn, and I probably only have like 7, 8, maybe 10 spots that fall into that category where I just know what to do. But it's more than like the 2 and the 3 that I knew before. You know?
Dude. The more you study and the more you play, the more of those spots that'll just, you'll be able to just reach and they'll be there.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're studying 4 or 5 hours a week every week. You could only get better.
Yep.
And then one day you'll be a sicko and start doing 12 and 15 hours a week like me. You could only be a sicko.
What was the name of that book? The Mental Game of Poker?
Yeah, just look up Jared Tendler. He wrote Mental Game of Poker 1 and 2. They're really good. And they're not really poker strategy. They're about where tilt comes from, the different kinds of tilt, how to deal with them, the learning model called their inchworm model. So how we pick up knowledge and how we learn anything. So it's really good for that kind of stuff. It's really good.
Awesome.
Positive Poker by Jonathan Little and Patricia Gardner is another good one on Mental Game. Mental Game League. Those are the ones I highly suggest. Positive Poker and the Mental Game of Poker.
Right on. I'll add those to the list of books that I'll eventually someday get around to checking out.
Yeah, the good thing about those books versus Jonathan Little's Mastering Micro Stakes or whatever is that Micro Stakes book is going to get out of date at some point because poker evolves. But Mental Games books, they never go out of date, right? You either tilt or you don't. You learn one way or you don't, right?
Yeah, and I think that's an area where I need to, and it's the perfect spot for me to study and improve on because like the last month and a half, I'm on the biggest downswing I've had in the past 2 years, and it's it's fucking rough at times, but just gotta keep playing through it. And I've had a couple $500-$600 binks, and I'm still not out of the hole yet per se, but I think it's gonna be long term. I think it's gonna be a good skill to improve on for sure.
Oh, but you went on like an 8-month run where you didn't have a losing month, right?
Yeah, it was awesome. I want that again. I want that.
This is normal. This is normal, man. I'm looking at your game, and I'm telling you, you don't have any major leaks. This is definitely normal.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I'll compound on top of that. Like, I'm not having a very good month this month. Yeah, it's still early, but like I feel like this past Sunday, I played really good poker. I think I really felt like I made minimal mistakes. Like in the mistakes that I did make, like I immediately recognized them. And like I just felt like I played really good poker, and I was just taking the nastiest beats. And like I'm like, of course, I start playing good poker, and this is what happens. And I just have to accept that, And it's just what it is because I know that eventually I'll start getting the run goods like I had before on top of perfect poker, and I'll just blow it out.
Well, another thing too is like if you'll know when you're playing well if you're only losing to the impossible. Because you're not making the mistakes the other people are, so they have to hit magic in order to beat you. So when you get good, you only lose to the impossible. It's always going to be 1 and 2 outers.
Yeah.
And so
I like to check. I know you don't want to put too much weight or stock into it, but I like to check my big blind per 100 and my adjusted all-in big blind per 100 and my graphs after every tournament or after every session rather. You can kind of see you know, it can kind of give you an idea of if you're playing bad or if you're running bad or if, you know, if the cards aren't falling for you a little bit. Not, you know, totally. It can be, you know, a shitty graph and you could have played pretty well, but
Sure. That
something with
definitely helps. And then again, doing shit like this, because if you're fucking up, you're in a group where, I mean, I
yeah,
have
for
no
sure.
shame. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you if I think you fucked up.
Yeah,
So I think Dudearino is the same spot. So this is a good way to double check yourself as well.
yeah, 100%. Right on.
People you
All right,
trust.
food's here, so I gotta go. Same time next week.
Same time next week.
Yep.
All
See you
right,
later.
right on. All right, take care, guys.
Anything from anybody else? No? We're good?
See you, Twirl. See you, Wisco. Later, Johnny. See you,
Yeah.
Toe.
See you later. Thanks, guys.